Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, March 9th, 2020. This is a scheduled city caucus. I have a scheduled 4 p.m. start. The clock on my cell phone is showing 4:06 p.m. May I have a roll call for the commencement of this caucus? Councilperson Ridley.
Here.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Here.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Here.
Councilperson Young.
As usual, here.
Councilperson Solomon.
Here.
Councilperson Robinson.
Here.
Councilperson Navarro was here.
He was
He's
here.
around.
He's here.
Councilperson Rivera is around as well, and Council President Waterman.
Here.
We have 7 members in attendance at 4:06 p.m. Notice of this meeting was disseminated on Thursday, March 5th, 2020 at 4 p.m. to the mayor, city council, business administrator, and the newspapers, and posted on the World Wide Web, so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. I'm going to mark Councilperson Rivera in at 4:07 p.m. And before I do this, and let's do it now. Big special day today. It is the council president's birthday, so let's wish her a happy birthday.
Thank you. 21. No, what a year. 21 was a good year. Go ahead, John.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to you, Council President.
Okay, let's see what we listen you first. There you go, Sean.
It's going to be a quick one.
Yes, it's going to be great. This is for 1018. This is,
1018. So 1018.
I brought you guys these. These are the applications.
1018.
So
Go ahead. 1018 is a resolution authorizing procurement of concessions through the formal solicitation of quotations from applicants for a city-managed entrepreneur training program to be located and repurposed container units at 347-349 and 351-355 on Luther King Drive. Go ahead, Melissa, I'm sorry.
Thanks. This is Pop-Up Jackson Hill across the street from the Annex. We're very excited to launch our full season April 1st, hopefully. I passed around the application forms. These are the application forms that the vendors will use. I printed those out, but this is an online application. All the rules are there, as well as our expectations for how the site will run. And we're excited to bring in 4 new vendors to be open from the hours of 11 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday, for 3 months at a time, as an educational opportunity for entrepreneurs.
Okay, any questions, Jermaine?
You already have the, is it fillable?
No, we just finished the last season, and we're closed for the winter, but it's been warm, so we're hoping to get people in for April 1st, April, May, and June.
So this is the one existing container, right?
Yeah, these are already existing.
Right. So how was the current, the tenant, do they happy with that?
Well, there's no tenants currently. We closed for the winter.
They did it last year.
Yeah, they did.
So what
Yeah.
happened then? They happy?
It was great. It was a great launch. We've decided to increase the educational opportunities. We felt like we did have a great opportunity to offer more. So that's where we're coming at it from this new season. Offer some more one-on-one, hands-on training with some business professionals.
Also, we wanted to have a process where it comes before council, so we can highlight the business going in there, so you can see what's going on, so you can talk more about these small businesses as well. Just another way for us to promote them.
And how are we doing food trucks? I know the food truck has been really warm. They stayed the whole winter. So are we like changing out the food trucks? Do we have more coming in? Is it room for 2 food trucks or one?
There is room for 2, yeah. We're also hoping to highlight some tent vendors. We know that based on our experience at farmers markets, there's a lot of food vendors who don't necessarily have a food truck. So these would be people who have already permits to do like farmers markets or other kind of markets, but don't necessarily have a space or even enough money for a truck. So we're hoping to highlight some of those food vendors this year as well.
Would they be able to like operate on the sidewalks in front? I mean,
Oh,
I think that would
interesting.
like give a little bit more attention to, you know, going inside. Just the ones
Good
who
thought.
do the, you know, the farmers markets, things like that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can do that, yeah. I think it's great.
Anyone else?
No.
That's it.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Brian?
Brian, number one.
Okay. Ryan, welcome. We're here for two resolutions, item 1030 and 1031. Item 1030 is a resolution authorizing an award professional service contract to Texas. Is that how you
Correct.
pronounce that?
Texas.
Architecture and Design LLC in connection with the architectural and engineering services for 28 Patterson Street, Joseph Connor Senior Center. Window replacement and exterior wall repairs, Phase 1, project number 2018-017A for the Department of Administration, Division of Architecture.
Thank you, Sean. I think that pretty much explains the entire project. Unfortunately, the building is in the state of some pretty serious repairs. The windows are very difficult to get to and they're oversized, so there may be some structural issues that we need to address. And this will allow us to move forward with a biddable project.
So, can I?
Go ahead.
Okay. So more likely this question belongs to law department. Okay. So if we see the ordinance, that's resolution 1030, so now therefore number one, the total cost is $56,100 for the contract period of 24 months. Which is authorized so and so on. So this contract, $56,000, is a contract period is 24 months, okay? But meantime, the problem in the city of Jersey City, this company providing one of the service that construction administration. You know, so the $56,000 include the construction administration, but in the meantime, the term of the contract is 2 years. But when you're down the road, we always have a problem with a funding problem or unexpected issue. We supposed to finish that the whole construction in actually 2 years. You know, but unfortunately, it go move on. Then we have to be given extended service contract to another extra dollars. So my concern is that that's what it means. But if we see contract, page 4, in the middle paragraph, the second paragraph, that's it is important to note the percent that city is prohibited from the paying for good or service before any they have been provided. So even though we have a contract 2 years, if they not provide a service, like let's say they're not able to provide a service because of that we are funding issues so and so. So if things go over the 2 years, we don't have to pay extra because they not provide construction administration. How they work?
I think, yeah, the construction of the contract is it's an amount served over a period of 24. It's a 24-month contract.
So I think, let me just say, with the architect of record for this project, we could terminate the contract at any time. So if they got the drawings and specifications done, and we didn't have the money to go out to bid because the construction cost estimate was too high, we could either use that and bid for more money at the next capital request, because it's a city building and needs to be repaired. But basically, we don't have to go with them to use them for construction services. I could go out and put an RFP out for another firm to come in and do it, or maybe we could do it in-house. So I don't see on this particular project that there would be any reason for us to need to extend their contract beyond the 24 months. If it couldn't be done within 24 months.
You see, that's what I'm saying. But when you provide service, the construction administration means that they're going to be oversight the whole construction. But if the construction finish in 2 years period, then we don't have to pay extra dollars for the consulting company or architecture company. But you know, we know, even though we have a 2 years service contract, but because of funding and the change of fund, I mean the bidding process, so and so, our project to maybe started after 2 years. Then still we have to pay. So how they, because, you know what I'm saying, because it's a term, if we finish the whole construction in the term in 2 years, fine. But if our construction past the 2 years, then we gotta pay extra dollars for architecture.
Only if it's unforeseen, something unforeseen comes up and the scope changes. Because what my office will do is, if there's a lull in the period between when they're done with the documents and bidding an award, we stop them. They don't keep getting paid. So if there was a stop, then we wouldn't be paying them for that stop. Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't have to pay.
Right.
But construction, the contract is 2 years.
Well, that's the maximum amount we can go. We're just trying to assume that we can do it sooner than that. But we're
In the
just not sure.
meantime, on the actual contract, they say that cities are provided from the paying for the goods service before they been provided. So in other words, administration construction, the construction administration, they're not provided, so we don't have to pay for it.
Correct.
I just make it
Yeah, we
clear.
won't,
Yep.
yeah,
You
that's
understand, right?
correct, yes.
So in other words, we go, even though construction and all those things from the beginning and even though it take 3 years, still we're gonna pay $56,000.
If we proceed to the very end, yes,
You understand?
yes.
I just want to, I don't want you to come back, Ryan.
I don't want to
Come
come
back
back.
later. Oh, because the architectural contract passed the 2 years, because of that, we gotta pay extra instead to do that, you know?
Only if there's,
The term is 2 years, but actually the contract is beginning to end of the project, correct?
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, just bear in mind that this is a very old building, and there might be unforeseen things that
Yes.
come
yes,
up.
we understand.
That's the one thing that I can't definitively answer to you right now, right here.
But because of the change of order, they extend the, what do they call it?
I would have to come back here.
Yes, then we understand it, but I'm just want to make sure that past the 2 years, but if they provide service to construction admission, we don't have to pay. So in other words, maybe we only pay $30,000, okay?
Sure,
As long as
yes,
we're same page is fine.
okay.
Any more questions? Someone else? 31.
To 31? Okay. 31 is a resolution authorizing the award of professional service contract to Easton Architects in connection with the historic schematic design development, construction documents, and construction administration services for Reservoir Number 3 Historic Structures Restoration Project 2020-002 for the Department of Administration, Division of Architecture.
So this one actually is the same thing with that, what we say, but if you see page 37 of 61, actual their contract, if we see that the page 37 of 61, they say City of Jersey responsibility. If you read that, last paragraph, please. Last paragraph. As stated, the schedule and work plan has been structured on the assumption that the contract will be complete within 24 hours. So in other words, if the City of Jersey is not able to finish this construction in 2 years, 24, then we gotta pay extra. That's our responsibility. So this one, we have a contract, $240,000, but end of day, the appropriation service can be $300,000 to $400,000 can be. See, that's, I just want to make sure that we should be contract with them, but we should be deleted the last paragraph, page 37 of 61 contract. Page 37 of 61 of the contract. The last, the sentence they say, as stated, they call the City of Jersey responsibility. And the bottom line, as stated, the schedule and the work plan has been structure on the assumption that contract will be complete, contract will be complete within 24 months.
Yep.
So in other words, if over 24 months, it's not $240,000 their fee. It can be $300,000 to $400,000. So I'm not feel comfortable pushing less sentence.
This project, well, the grant that we're receiving for this particular structure requires a historic preservation architect. So this first phase, to go with the screen house money that we're getting from Historic Trust, this is to get them started on, and they will have the drawings done within 2 years, okay? And then they're done.
No,
Okay.
if we see the contracts, listen, this one is the same thing. Also, their job is construction administration.
For the first phase, for the screen house.
First phase, but screen house, they have 3 projects. Screen house 1, 2, and the third one is at what are they called?
The gatehouse.
The gatehouse. So
1,
almost-
2, and the screen house. Yes.
So 3 projects, but when I look at it by the expense, 3 projects, you're not gonna finish in 2 years.
Now, the reason we did that is so that we can have all the information ready to apply for the next round of grants to stabilize the other structures that are in just about as the same condition as the screen house.
So then we expect, this city council expect that,
All
Expected
all
that-
3 structures will have design documents done by this architect, ready to go.
ready to go. So then phase 1, screen house 1. How about screen house 2 and gate? The construction,
Those we will not have this architect for probably. The scope of this project is for phase 1 screen house and the other 2 buildings so that we're ready to apply for other grants.
Oh,
But as far
I
as,
see.
but as far as the construction dollars and the construction oversight, that's just phase 1, just the screen house, which is the one that's out in the water.
okay, so contract administration only for screen house number 1.
Yes, and so we get all the documents so that
Okay,
we're
great.
prepared to make and pursue more grants for the other
Thank you,
buildings.
appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah, you know, good.
It's a little confusing, that site's a little confusing, but
Yeah,
that's,
because when I read it a couple of times the contract, it's a lot of pages.
It-
You know, almost 70-some page. When I read that, I say.
But don't forget, this is a historic site, it's on the National Register, and it needs to go to SHPO, all bells and whistles, so.
So our business administration have to be expected, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna hire consulting company for the construction administration for the phase 2, 3, correct?
Yes, we'll have to, that'll be a separate project. phase 2.
Thank you.
Yes.
Brian, very good.
Okay, okay. All right,
This is 10.31.
Yes, wait, Yolanda has.
sorry.
This is actually more to the business administrator.
Okay.
So this is page 3 of the document, underneath the heading. The title, it reads, the first sentence reads, I, Lubna Munir, as Chief Financial Officer,
We gotta change
certified.
that,
And so
yeah.
who
We'll get
is
it changed.
certifying that the funds are available?
Elizabeth Castillo is now the acting CFO, and yeah, this was done in the interim period.
Couple weeks
there.
ago.
Yeah.
So that line is missing in 10.30. Is that standard language, I assume, for all?
It's a standard
contracts?
template format that appears in all the resolutions and ordinances that require anything related to a CMFO review. But what we can do is, we can make we'll make the change. I'll take care of it.
So I've asked you to look at 10.30 because there's nothing referencing that certification, as far as I can tell, in that resolution.
Because that is, okay. Yeah, we'll take a look.
Okay.
So can I raise that question, Council President? Unrelated to all of this, so I sent an email, and the council is fully aware, everybody, to the business administrator, the council president, to the corporation council, to the HR director, Joanne Rosa, as well, asking about a closed session to discuss the
Right.
the situation with Lubna Munir and the allegations. Is that imminent, or where do we stand with that at this point?
That's a HR-related issue.
Yeah, that's a personnel issue.
Yeah.
It's not something that is typically falls within the ambit of council action or council review at this time. It's also a matter of potential future litigation, and therefore it's a matter that needs to be kept within the ambit of the executive and within the Human Resources Department.
You're saying the council can't have any review or discussion on this matter at all and get any information related to these allegations of,
We could just have a closed session.
yeah, we've always had closed sessions on these matters. I don't know why
You
this
can
is,
have a closed session.
we went through this before with something else, I forget what it was.
Council President, if you'd like to call a closed
Yeah, we could
session.
just have a closed session.
I did, I requested a closed session via email, and I'd asked that we
Anybody else
have
want
a
a
closed
question?
session on this matter.
John, this guy is a closed session, that's it.
I would just echo, I think a closed,
Yeah, you can do a
without
closed
getting into
session,
it, I
you
just
just
think
can't.
it'd be helpful, I think, for
All
all
right,
of us
that's
to
it, right.
have a closed session where we can discuss, you know, what was
just
written
send me
and
the
have
date.
it on back and forth.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Nothing, that was my point, it's just, or to echo, I
Closed
think we
session.
should have a closed session, that's all.
If you could just send me
Sure.
the date and time when you would want to do that, and we would have to do a resolution.
We'll do a resolution for
Right.
Wednesday.
Right, for the next caucus
the-
at 3 o'clock. That'll work?
Yeah.
Okay.
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 Are we doing, is the next caucus being moved?
The next caucus
Oh,
is
you're
at
right, it's
10
a
a.m.
morning
Yeah.
caucus.
Yeah.
So we would
Oh,
have
so
to do
that's-
that.
So 9?
9 a.m., that's it, because I don't think that's it. 9 a.m.
So you'll,
I don't think they go.
We'll prepare the,
Yeah, we'll do it.
So it's at 9 a.m.
and that's on the
Okay.
23rd.
Yes. 23rd at 9 a.m.
I saw your email.
You can't, it's like for HR.
So we don't
Schedule it in.
Right, can't be.
It's not, an issue.
Okay, that's it.
Appreciate it, thank you.
All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Hector,
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. No, you were fine.
1019 starts with Hector. Resolution 10.19.
1019.
I'm sorry?
1019. 1019 is a resolution for the renewal of an open-end contract with Central Poly Bag Corporation to supply and deliver large black plastic bags to the Department of Public Works Division of Park Maintenance.
1019. Okay.
Any questions for Hector?
No. How many, the bags in each case? Right? How many bags in each case?
I think it's 120 bags.
129?
20.
120?
And is some of this in anticipation of the cleanup?
That's all for Parks and Forestry, yes.
Okay, great.
Any more questions?
No.
Next one?
Next
Hector?
one, I believe you're also here for 1020, is a resolution authorizing an award of a contract with Northeast Sweepers and Rentals, Inc. for the purchase and delivery of one street sweeper for the Department of Public Works, Division of Sanitation, through the Keystone Purchasing Network. That's item 1020.
Questions?
Yes. This one, actually, if we see the price, the street sweeper machine itself, $186,000, and the $22,000 is for 2 years
Maintenance.
maintenance.
Right.
2 years maintenance. So now, my question is that, if you see that the 2 years of maintenance, what they cover, what they done, they cover 2 years of 2,000 hour warranty. Okay? So 2,000 hours of warranty means that how many actually days, because the machine is working what, 4 days a week?
It's by hours.
By hours, but I mean they're working days, so 4 days a week they're working,
Right.
each machine, right?
Right.
And then
This is a small sweeper, mini sweeper.
It's a small one.
This
It's
is
not
a
the
small
larger
one?
sweeper.
Yeah.
this is for the street or the pedestrian? The
This is
street?
for the sidewalks and
This is a sidewalk, right?
Bike lanes, yeah, at curb extensions, any small area that the big one can't get into, which
Oh,
we're finding
okay,
there's a
okay.
lot of them. We have the one already that's out there with, it's working with great success, so we need another one.
So,
this will be our second.
Okay, so.
Second small one, yes.
So that's,
How many
that's,
other than
that-
12?
that's when I try to actually, just say that $186,000 include, they come with a 2 years of service plan. And we purchase extra another years.
2 years warranty.
Uh-huh.
Service is additional for all changes and everything that goes beyond the warranty.
It includes brushes, it includes replacement of the consumable parts, which is it's just a big cost for us if we didn't have this plan.
So 2 years, 2,000 warranty. Did you read that there, what it means, 2 years of 2,000 warranty come with that?
What it comes with? Yes.
What it comes with, it covers the machine from top to bottom.
No. If you see the page 7 of 24,
7 or 24.
yes. Page 7 of 24, and their contract, this is actually not a contract, they come with this warranty, come with a brand new machine.
Right.
Okay? That include this service brand new machine is $186,000. If we see next page, we're gonna buy extra 1 more years of service here.
No, this is what we're purchasing is the weekly service. They go through 10 sets of poly blend, right? The suction head cameras, 1 casters.
Yes,
So
I
that's
understand.
not covered under warranty.
Okay, so, no. Then page 8 of 24, we're gonna pay for $22,000. Can you tell me the difference between the page 7 and the page 8?
Page 7 is warranty items. Page 8 is not warranty items.
No. Page 7 is warranty with service plan.
The service plan is
So in
8.
other words, when you buy a car,
Right.
car comes with a service plan warranty. So in other words, while you own the first 2 years, first 2 years, we're gonna provide a stainless steel hole for 2.5 yards, and so all those things, So 2 years of 2,000-hour warranty, they come with that.
Right.
Then, next one, service plan, page 8,
Right.
annual plan, we have about 1,000 hours, because the first one's are 2,000 hours. We purchased one is a 22,000, we pay, it's 1 year. So we end of the total 3 years warranty we had,
Correct.
that's what it is.
1 year plus 2.
Thank you very much. That's what I want to make sure. So our plan is $186,000, include 2 years warranty, plus we're gonna pay extra $22,000 another for the extra 1 more year's service. So I just want to make sure, this machine comes with 3 years, okay?
Correct. Total service. Correct.
Okay, that's it. I just want to make sure, so, 3 years.
3 years.
Okay, then I got no problem.
Next one, Sean.
Okay, the next one.
So what grant account is it coming from?
Yeah.
It's coming from.
It's that MUA grant account we used for the sweepers before.
Is that, did they put more money into it? or
No,
just
say
that?
that we
had enough
there
for
was
another
like,
one?
yeah.
Okay.
The plan was to not spend it all at once, just in case like some of the sweepers weren't good and the small one didn't work out, so then we realized the small one was good, so we got another.
So the reason I'm bringing up the issue is that we purchased a new machine, 17, 18, 19. Those old machines, we got the 3 years warranty. I want to make sure your department, instead, because in the meantime, last time, we have a service contract with the service for the machine. I don't want we pay duplicated. So 18, 19, we purchased a big new machine. Also, we purchased a service plan.
Correct.
So those machines supposed to have 3 years warranty.
Right.
You know?
And it's still under warranty.
It's still warranty, right? To make sure that not just go another contract for the service, okay? Okay, please keep an eye.
Okay.
All right? Okay.
The next one, Sean.
Next.
He has 4.
Just on that grant, could I get the balance and spend down
Is it
against that
on
account?
front of the, should be in the fact sheet, no? 120?
If I can get the spend down as well,
Okay,
what we spent on.
yep,
Yeah, we'll do it.
should have been on the fact sheet there. Yep, okay, got it.
Okay. So the next item Hector is here for is 1014. It's a resolution authorizing the purchasing agent to sell various motor vehicles, motorcycles, and a motorboat at public auction. 1014.
I don't know if you provided in the past, like, it was requested, but the results of the past.
We sent it as a follow-up to one of the caucuses, maybe in January. I'll see if I can dig it up.
You could again, that would be great.
So, this one, we sell the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Harley Davidson motorcycle. It's a Jersey Police Department one?
Correct.
Huh? They sell a motorcycle?
Yeah.
Why don't they call that?
Oh, the old one, only 5 of the old ones.
So we have 26.
Yeah.
There are 12 that are 17 years old that are in bad shape.
Because they've been sitting in storage for the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
it would,
why.
yeah.
The
Well,
2004s are in bad shape, well bad shape, these 5.
I just spoke to them the other day about it. Instead of the horses, they should bring back the motorcycles. They were effective and they were great for traffic enforcement.
we have still 10, I think, 2012s that are in better shape.
Correct.
That,
So we're going
we
over
can-
them now.
Yeah.
So, we got 26 motorcycle, and the 10 is in good condition.
10 are good, 12 are
Yeah.
not good. There's one trike, right? That I don't know the
It
condition
was
of.
donated.
Okay.
So this is a 12 is too old.
Yeah.
But usually,
Look, if the council wants us to hold them still, we can.
but usually what they do, they use old one as a just get some parts. You know, so that's
Yeah.
what they used to do there. So
The-
really,
The 2004 parts don't fit the 2010s.
is that right? Okay, you know better. Okay, then don't bother.
Did you notice? Probably did.
And the last one, Hector's
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Can we get the update on what's going on with the whole auto impound strategy? Right? So it was going to go out to do 4 auto pound or 3, I don't remember what the number was.
That's the next
Next
resolution.
one.
So that's-
Yeah.
That's the next one.
This is for public works vehicles, 3 owned vehicles.
Okay.
So the next one is item 1015, resolution authorizing the purchasing agent to sell various impounded motor vehicles at public auction.
Council President, can I say?
Sure can.
I'm not talking about necessarily the sale, but like what, we were supposed to have 4 different auto impounds, put out the bid, you're changing the laws around all that stuff.
Yeah,
Where
we're,
is all that?
we've been finalizing the RFP for that, and we've had some internal meetings, and we're hoping to do something, to go out publicly for that
Within
soon.
a couple months.
Yeah, pretty soon.
Because of that, so minimum bid price actually, the cost of the impound, right?
Yeah.
So we
In the new RFP, we're going to be changing the pricing structure. for
Okay,
all this.
please.
And
So it
that's,
has,
yeah.
yeah, so it has a maximum.
Yes, because
Right.
it's like a
The
monthly
pro-
business, like you continue to bring back every 3-4 months. Throughout I think it's about time to stop that, to waste our time, your time.
Yeah.
So we should be changing something.
Yeah,
Yeah, so-
we had an ordinance go through council, I think, to change all those rules, and I think that's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
And the RFP is going to have that, the new contract will have that. This
Okay.
is all under the old contract, we're still winding down.
So we able to sell regardless of the
We-
cost of
Yeah.
the impound.
214 vehicles that have been there
Beautiful.
for a
All
while.
right, thank you.
So
Go ahead.
what is the status of the relationship with the current auto impound operator?
As far as what, nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, recently.
I know that at one time, and it's been a long time now, so I'm
Yeah.
trying to recall the exact, but at one time, they suggested that they were owed some monies. Now, I don't know if has that all been settled at this point, or?
I think it's the other way around. They owe us money.
I don't know the discussions that happened there, but yeah, for the most part, based on the numbers that we put through council that were different than what they're using now, they are going to owe us much more money
Yeah.
from the auctions. We just have to have a new contract in place, and we need an RFP to do that.
Could I get a copy of the existing contract with the current impound operator?
Yeah, I'll take that up.
Okay. James, you got it? Next,
Okay, they're gonna take care of it?
Tanya,
Yeah,
Okay,
tomorrow.
thank you.
that's it.
That's it. Thank you. All right.
Tanya?
What do you think? Who's Thomas?
Let's see.
Okay.
Your stuff's
Stepped
here.
out? Okay, you stepped out?
That's it. Stacy.
Stacy?
He was See it? You don't want to
Oh,
do
I'm
it?
sorry.
And the first one is 10, what is it, Z1 or 21? 21? I don't know, I can't read Margaret's handwriting.
Exempting the Girl Scouts of America, a charitable organization, from licensing requirements for the sale of per-packaged goods on Article 1 peddlers and Article 2 solicitors of the Jersey City Code.
So this has been in the works for quite some time, both with Councilman Lavarro and Councilman Solomon. We have a significant number of Girl Scouts that want to set up tables. Well, you did like 2 years ago. We wanted to. We can't tell someone they're exempt. You need to tell them they're exempt, so I have to come to you to ask you to not charge the Girl Scouts to have a permit. Like, there should be an ordinance. It should make it a lot easier, but for right now, it's Girl Scout cookie season, and we need to just make sure they're in compliance. We don't feel comfortable charging them, but it's like a legitimate program, unlike some, people selling food on the streets. And so we just would like you to approve that.
No one wants to go up against the might of the big Girl Scout.
Yeah, we be strong, we be strong.
Yeah, I know.
No, you get free nothing, free nothing. Nothing is free.
That's good.
1022.
Is a resolution of the municipal council of the city of Jersey City accepting the grant and authorizing the execution of a grant agreement with National Association of VOCA Assistance Administrators to implement the National Crime Victims' Rights Week Community Action Project.
So this is a resolution requesting your support that we can roll out programming during National Crime Victims' Rights Week so that we can support, our focus on this is support DV victims and victims of violent crimes. We'll be working with the Chief Prosecutor's Office on this.
Questions? Go ahead. Next one.
All right.
Next one is 1023, is a resolution of the municipal council of the city of Jersey City authorizing the submission of an application of the Jersey City Summer Food Program for calendar year 2020.
So as you may know, for many years, we've been trying to bring the summer meals program back under the health department, under the Division of Food and Nutrition, and annually, we're required to have a resolution to submit our application to the state, and this is that resolution.
Can we not have this was like 2 years ago.
So I'll tell you all the...
They have the option of,
Yes.
of the whole meal versus, if they want the chocolate, that's great.
Yeah, so this is actually one of the reasons we're bringing it back under the Division of Food and Nutrition, because we have nutritionists that work in the Division of Food and Nutrition. We're also looking to partner with the Jersey City Public Libraries to have an open site in every ward. We're really interested in the work that the library is doing at Five Corners, and we don't have a lot of open sites that are encouraging just anyone to come. In addition to that, we're encouraging the Department of Recreation and Youth Development and DPW's programs for summer youth work. Anyone under the age of 18 that works for the city, having open sites will encourage them a place to go, start the day, have breakfast, and have lunch, and not have to pay for it in the streets. And so.
Great.
So.
Okay.
Okay, 1024 is a resolution authorizing a one-year renewal of a contract with Multimedia Solutions Corporation for the maintenance of the healthierjc.com website for the Department of Health and Human Services.
So you may know that we started this Healthier JC partnership portal as part of the Robert Wood Johnson Culture of Health grant program. Sustaining that work costs about $17,500 a year. And we'd like to continue doing that because it's an avenue for us to, one, open up to provide grants through the Healthier JC grant portal. Two, we've received a lot of positive response, and we have over 220 partners already signed up. And three, it gives our partners a way to calendar this in a simple way for them to self-manage. which doesn't require us to go through the city website, because they're technically not city events. So this is a great way for us to be able to continue to do that.
I have a question.
Sure, I have a question. We started this with the BA when it was the claim and Margaret was here. So, you know, my view is, just from a financial perspective, it makes sense to try to have all this under our main website. So I understand why today you can't do that, but you know, with the BA in calendar year 2020,
Yeah.
we can do that so everything is posted.
Yeah, so,
So, you know, for today, whatever just my position being 2021, let's see all this under one contract because they have these significant.
so I think it could be, but if you are following current, you know, the city website is a little bit harder to manage as an individual, so this allows individual nonprofits, not necessarily the health department, but partners of ours to actually have their own space, and to do that on the city website might then start to confuse people that they are city entities, and so that's what we're trying to showcase, that they're not actual city entities, but we want to support their work, and that's sort of a way that we can go about doing that.
Okay. Charlie,
So, the overall that the content, the city do that, what they?
No, every individual partner, if you haven't,
individual partner.
yeah, so if you go on healthierjc.com, we trained all of your aides to do this. Every nonprofit in the city of Jersey City that does work around health has their own page. It's GPS coded to the direction of their, you know, their agency, and they're able to post something on the calendar, 2, create their own blog, and 3, have like a portal for us to receive grant proposals.
Then why we pay for the $31,000?
That's what we're paying for.
Yeah, but why we have to pay?
Well, we have to pay because we made a commitment years ago to Robert Wood Johnson that we would do something that was sustainable. This was the decision of the partnership, and the medical center is paying for something else that we committed to, like a case management system. So we're moving to a case management system covered by Barnabas for the entire city's nonprofit community.
any more questions? What's next, Charlie? Is it? She's finished?
No.
Is
The
it?
next one is 1025, a resolution authorizing the city to enter into an agreement with Carol Lester to conduct yoga classes for senior citizens.
You might know Carol Lester. She's been doing yoga classes for us for nearly 20-something years. We had to go out to bid, or to ensure that we were just paying fair price, and we went with the lowest bid, and because it's over $17,500, we have to come to you to confirm that. So I believe her contract is $20,000. And that's because we have more and more sites interested in yoga, and you know, this is utilizing money that we get from the Office on Aging.
So how many people that participate in this program?
Well, we operate in 10 locations across the city, and when we see a drop in participation, we move to new sites. So anywhere between 200 and 350 a month.
You don't see that much of a drop usually.
We do in some locations, like seniors get bored and move on to something else. So we saw a drop in like Ocean Towers, Curry's Woods, Holland Gardens. We tried for a few months to do something to like rev up the energy there, and then we meet with the Housing Authority, and they said that they don't like yoga, they want Zumba, and so we bring Zumba in. Or they don't like yoga or Zumba, and the next person, like I'm going to talk to you about, is Helen Clark, who does weight training and other aerobic-like classes. So, I mean, we don't like leave the site, we just change like activities based on the interests of the seniors. So I promised at the budget hearing that I would share with you the audit from last year of attendance at all sites and the cost per site per person that attended. attends. We just got backlogged with a few other little things you might have already heard about. So sort of all hands on deck and other communications, but we'll get that to you by the end of the week.
Any questions?
I mean, my concern was that, actually almost every ward has a yoga place today now, very popular. So if we see that their schedule, if we see page 20 of 51, there's 6 to 8 class a week, Monday 12:30 to 12:30 p.m. is a person field, and the Monday 2 p.m. Ocean Towers. So in other words, they finished 1 hour's class.
It's a 40-minute class.
40 minutes class, right? So like then we have to all the way down to Ocean. Instead of do that, can we more find out instructor from each word? It's the height, we have like 3 different yoga places already. If they provide the services, the person feel, I think it'll more impact because the time 12:30 is not the peak time. Most people is a working time, you know what I'm saying? And it's a Monday. So, I mean, we should be more utilize.
Yeah, so I will tell you a little bit about, I've been working with the Office on, so this is funded by the Office on Aging, so we actually have to have someone go to the seniors. We can't have seniors go to a location. However, there is another program that I am working on called Silver Sneakers. It's a national program. I'm trying to get Jersey City an acknowledged location for Silver Sneakers. That actually pays all gyms and exercise programming locations direct for group classes that have seniors in attendance. So I'm working on that from another perspective to continue to provide those services. I think, Carol and Helen, because they've been working so many years with the city, and they actually were working under recreation for many years, and so then moving it underneath the Division of Senior Affairs enabled us to see where we had holes in our work, and that's why we increased our salsa classes, Zumba classes, and Tai Chi. So we do those 5, and then other things that seniors request. So at NJCU, we actually pay direct NJCU to host Monday, Wednesday, Friday open gym opportunities, and NJCU handles it. We're trying to do the same thing with St. Peter's, so that every neighborhood has something. I think telling someone that we don't want to do business with them after 20-something years might be harder for you, but it's not hard for me to say. But they followed up with the RFPs. You can tell them because they show up at my door. I feel like the council said no. So they're the ones who, we send out to a lot of people, and a lot of people like the idea of coming, and actually we pay a very good rate.
Yeah, $65
yeah.
an hour, 40 minutes.
I don't get paid that to teach yoga, so.
I think what he was saying is if he have an instructor in the Heights, why can't they use that instructor up there?
They should follow up with the RFP.
They have to follow up with the
Yeah.
RFP.
So you can follow the RFP for that because the total amount, if you, like a $24,000 a year, divided by a location, like a $3,000 one, So $24,000, I don't know what kind of RFP it require. It's like a part of the recreation program. When you recreation program hire $5,000 a year, program conductor, we never put RFP.
Right,
So
but we
what
do
I'm
an informal RFP to just protect ourselves.
Yes.
Obviously, I've been down that road before too,
informal
so.
RFP means that, why don't we, this kind of program, help the local yoga instructor, because World Epic Program is one, almost every ward has it, So I think it's a proper way to run this kind of program.
So, I mean, for me, because of the way we budget, it becomes really difficult because I have to start programming in January, and these are people that understand that they're not getting paid from you until this happens. So if it's not going to happen, I can tell them now that I'm cutting their contracts, and that they, after this, have no more work with us. If that's what you want to do, that's your decision. I think that they are very open to the running around doing the work. A lot of people want to like walk in, teach and leave. This actually requires us to get a lot of information. They need to bill us in a certain way that's aligned with the Office on Aging, because we have to track every individual, and that's how we get paid to then pay them. Which is why when we go under 5 people, we actually can't afford the class. And so we get paid $14.80 per person that attends, and based on sort of the going rate, this is what sort of we wound up with.
So it's not a whole lot of money, but that's what I think. Maybe you have a better idea than anybody else. But if you're able to support the local, yoga instructor, A, B, C, D, E, F, I think that this is another way, because $65 per class, it's a pretty good dollars. So there's just some suggestions.
But if you're only going to make it, so if you split it up, I'm just
But I'm just
saying.
saying, though, because you use these two for so long, I think that's something you have to transition out.
Yeah, and we can tell them starting this year,
Right.
Like in September, we'll go out to bid for January.
Thank you very much.
And that we want to keep our instructors local, that, that are part, of the community that they serve.
Beautiful.
I'm happy to do
That's what I
that.
want to hear from you.
Yep,
Okay?
All right.
I think that's fair.
Go ahead.
I'm unrelated to anything on the item. I'm going to try to ask this in a way that,
I'm here to tell you whatever you need me to say.
Go ahead.
that I don't open up a can of viruses.
Okay. Well, I will confirm.
I don't want to know, I'm not asking about specifically, this is maybe more for Brian. Because I've gotten so much information from you, and it's great, so thank you. And from Dr. Pastula as well, so it's been helpful. I'm more curious about for Jersey City as government, in terms of our employees and other things like that. Are we making plans in the eventuality, and if you could share some of the planning that's going on there in terms of
Do you want me to start with the briefing and then you can jump in? It's not on the agenda, but it's public and it's probably,
But it's just because she's here.
Sure.
yeah.
Sure, you can start.
So I'll start quickly. This morning, we had a briefing with not just Jersey City FD and PD, but county fire officials at the Office of Emergency Management, where we walked through some specific protocols that they will be following. We have prepped preparation kits for the 36 radio cars that will be out, and all of that is being managed inside the Office of Emergency Management. So we took all the masks, Tyvek suits, et cetera, that we have throughout the city within every department. They're sitting there as we wait for the order that we placed in January prior to this to arrive. We've followed up with the Division of Purchasing to kind of uncover any portal for any additional materials if that is necessary. We have started, as of today, an appointment-only protocol at the Department of Health for clinical appointments. That means senior affairs, immigrant affairs, veteran affairs. We will set appointments for individuals if they'd like to come in prior to their arrival. We will confirm within 24 hours their appointment and follow up with specific protocols, asking them if they feel sick, flu-like symptoms that align with the virus, if they've traveled or have been in touch with someone that has traveled, and if that is the case, we will reschedule their appointment for 2 weeks out. We will not be seeing current military service people, as we know many of them are traveling, and this is one of the issues that just popped up at the Pentagon. But we will take any phone call and follow up, and those are easy appointments to do via phone. At the WIC clinic and at the city clinic, where we do our STD testing and treatment and our immunizations, we will practice the same protocol. We have already, seen people being very supportive of that. We have also worked with Director Kears to get all of the current emergency meal replacements to the health department for the senior Meals on Wheels that are at high risk. We are tracking, obviously, I will repeat, I feel like I keep repeating this all day. We have zero cases in the city of Jersey City. We have 0 cases. We have 0 individuals under investigation. Whatever you are hearing, it could be suspect or perspective, that is all hearsay and rumors. We have 0 cases under investigation, and we have 0 cases of the virus here in Jersey City. And we have been tracking this, as I have told you, at the budget hearing since January 26th. Every single person that gets off a plane from any of these locations are given information to call their local health department. We have tracked nearly 70 of those individuals, and we are tracking all asymptomatic individuals every other day, having them call in, giving us their temperature. If they are not compliant after 24 hours, we follow up with them if they are not compliant. Another 24 hours, as of today, we are sending out individual home visits. We have 2 nurses on our team that we just hired through a public health detailing program that are able to support the epidemiologist and the health officer in that. Then we have other staff protocols.
Yeah, we are, so there's another thing, anyone who calls 911 now, we have a different set of questions that we're asking to make sure that people, we're effectively screening for the virus, including locations of travel and that sort of stuff. At this point, though, we're not taking any preemptive action to send people home early or anything like that unless they have symptoms. If anyone that works for the city or that anyone you know or that lives in the city has any symptoms, we urge them to call a doctor, either our city offices or their own doctor, and they are all prepared to go through a screening process. If it sounds like it might be the virus, there are steps that we are as a city taking. So we're urging people who have symptoms not to just show up in an emergency room and possibly infect everyone who's in the emergency room, or get in an ambulance and then contaminate that ambulance and then take that ambulance out of service.
Yeah.
We've also been discussing, and we're probably gonna, we had a couple meetings today, we have probably a meeting tomorrow, Wednesday, with our stakeholders. We're gonna be releasing more information about what to do and what we're doing on the city side. We are preparing, I guess, for the worst case of if we have to like decontaminate City Hall or something like that. We're going to be ready for that sort of thing, but we're not like getting ready to just send everyone home. We are doing extra cleaning services of public spaces, like the hand scanners that everyone uses in city buildings. We're going to be cleaning those more often. We're making hand sanitizer more available. We're prepared if we need to for work from home abilities. Although we're not quarantining anyone preemptively, again, we're not just going to send people home unless they have symptoms.
I mean, we're asking people to practice basic standards, and we are really following through. There's 3 tiers to this work. So 1, you don't feel well, you go home. 2, like, if you went home and you've been in touch with anyone that has traveled, and we're just broadly saying to people, because they're like, I don't know, I just came home through South Korea from the Philippines and I might be sick. And we're like, okay, let's call your doctor, because flying through a city may not cause this, but if someone's getting on the plane in that city, yeah, you might want to protect yourself. We have tracked all of those cases. We are continuing to track those cases. Those are non-cases. Those are asymptomatic individuals, people without any symptoms that have been on a flight that live in our city. We are tracking them. We've been tracking them since January 26th.
Including city employees. We've had employees travel, and we've screened them before they came back to work.
Let me ask you something. Could you put hand sanitizer in every office? I mean, would that be too much? The only reason I say it, because there's only one bathroom.
Yeah,
And
so
you gotta go there to wash your hands.
we're adding it in certain locations. The problem is also that there's a shortage because everyone's trying to buy it. So we have some stocked up. We're trying to do what we can through Public Works, and them here right now, to add it in.
In addition, what I didn't say is we pulled the list of every single senior that comes to any one of our programming. They will get a Swift 911 call today and tomorrow, just reminding them if they feel sick, like who to call, and if they feel sick, don't come to one of our programs. We'll happily follow up with them. This whole week, we're hosting workshops and information centers at all the congregate meal sites, and like I said, we're prepping. We have 4,500 emergency meal replacements. If there's, money to come in an emergency fund, we'll be able to order 8,000 more. We're waiting for the county to tell us if they would cover them 100% or only 60%, and that will enable us to figure out how to open that account to make that order. Purchasing is well aware, and they're ready for that.
We have soap in all our senior centers.
Yes, we do. In fact, we're having a deep clean in all of our senior locations this week as well. We have staff that are cleaning after every activity and event, and we practice, serve safe standards, which are the highest level, and we have soap and everything, and we are the health department.
I have a question with respect to the packet that the police and fire have.
Mm-hmm.
What are like the basics that are in that packet?
Well, they requested, there's like specifics like wipes, masks, and Tyvek suits in case they are, and I guess there's like an incident that happened in Texas, which is technically a DV call, so there was a patrol car that went, turns out somebody that was involved in that situation is under investigation. So we met with them this morning to figure out their protocols. What we decided we were going to do is by the end of today, 911 system, which will be used across the whole county, which we discussed with the medical center as well this morning. We will add 5 questions to the 911 calls. So after someone says they have a shortness of breath, which is kind of a standard 911 call, we're going to then say, do you have any other flu-like symptoms or fever? And if so, have you traveled abroad? And have you been in touch with anyone? As they're waiting on the phone for 911 to come, they will inform the emergency responder, and in their vehicle, they will have the tools to protect themselves.
So that was my next question. They wouldn't know when they're asymptomatic. But
yes.
Is the medical center...
The medical center has agreed to follow the same protocol.
No, but are they like engaged with, maybe, helping our public safety department?
Yeah, so everything they have, everything they have, we are able to utilize. We're obviously first responders will get the items from the medical center first, and that's where we're going to provide first and foremost to JCPD because they don't have all of those tools, and because we might see a lot of this, right? Because it's one-time use items, and so. We feel we're pretty prepared as we're still waiting for orders that we haven't.
And my last question is, so do we know if the medical center is actually staging in areres where they might get
They currently have a quarantine area. They're practicing, this is, since your visit, because I did talk to Michael, what did Michael say to me this morning? They're using standard isolation gear, and they are currently, we're currently monitoring people that self-proclaim but have not met any of the standards that would require us to do the test, because what we do first, right, we ask all these questions. If that's a no, we're going to test, we're going to give you a chest x-ray, we're going to give you a CAT scan, we're going to do a panel of tests that include influenza, tuberculosis, etc. Once all of those things are negative, then we're gonna, because...
My question is, because you're gonna get everybody under the sun in the city that's gonna call because they have all these...
Yeah, we've been dealing with that since January.
Is the medical center staged in areas of the city? So what I'm trying
They're
to
not
say
staged in areas of the city. We're waiting for the next level of protocol to come out that we're hoping the county has coordinated with the governor's office to allow for additional testing sites at laboratories like they're doing in New York. We have not gotten that permission yet, and we hope to get that permission. This is why we ask everyone not to just run to the ER, to call the state number. The state number sends them to us, directly to us, to our staff. We do an overview. Then we will coordinate with them to get testing so that they don't walk into a public waiting area and possibly get other people.
So is there any way we can get the medical center to make a statement like that?
I will ask.
That's important because, I mean, that, what you said is very big, and we need the medical center to be on the forefront of giving that information out to the city. Don't come here for, any, because, hey, you're right, that you have a sick area in the ER, then you have a triage area in the ER, so you don't want to, expose everybody. But it's important that the medical center tells the constituents of the city, make sure that you follow this protocol. And the question that I have with the ambulance is that everybody is going to be calling, everybody's going to have these symptoms. So I don't want these phone calls to take away from the other concerns we're going to have throughout the city, because it's going to be ongoing until this, pandemic, that has been titled with it's gone. So, it's important that the city imposes that or tells the medical center, and not just Jersey City, the county in general, but our city, that they have to come up with a statement, because they haven't. They have to come up with a general statement and say X, Y, Z.
Because traditionally, that's not the location where people go, and we've been fielding calls for quite some time, like I said, and I think all the information we put out there on the city website, on Healthier JC, we continue to tweet about it and got information on Facebook pages, etc., to call the number, because the number gets you directly to our team. So wherever your zip code is, the number gets you to our team. There, we will say, who is your private provider? If you don't come to us and you go randomly somewhere, we're going to wind up having that real-time information from the doctor, because they need to put it in the communicable disease reporting and surveillance system. That will pop up on our screen as soon as it's in there, and we will then follow up and call them.
And again, I'm not trying to press on, beat up on the medical center, but they also have to do that, for our, so that our Jersey City public schools and schools throughout the city can be aware of that there's a protocol.
Yeah, and Brian and I talked about this. I was on the phone last night with the business administrator from the Board of Ed. They need to really know where their students are. For them, it's about who's taking a bus. If you're in a classroom with a kid or a teacher, to know who's that kid playing with, who's on their bus, and all that information that could get lost in that conversation is what we discussed with the BA last night.
Rolando, you had a question?
2 questions. First one is for our employees. Have we contemplated options if there are school closures to support them during that time, if that should eventuality should come? And then the second thing is just on the question of price gouging. As you said, all the hand sanitizers.
That's what we're up against right now.
People are, I'm hearing reports of gouging, not necessarily here, but around the country. And I guess we'd ask the law department to tell us what the laws are on that, and then what we can do as a city to prevent such behavior in the city, in that sense.
Yeah, I'll defer to the law on what we can do about price gouging. I'm not sure we do have a lot of options.
But we did double check with purchasing to see even the co-ops, what's going on with the state co-ops and such, and the group purchasing, because so they're going to give us a report sometime between now and tomorrow morning. But Peter, if he wants to answer that question.
I'm sorry.
It was about price gouging and what the laws are around price gouging in a time with coronavirus. If people are selling hand sanitizer for $30
I can look into what the scope of that is. I'll let you guys know.
But what are we as a city doing can we do anything to prevent that?
Yeah, we're going to look into this.
So, actually,
Did you answer the first question?
The school stuff.
Yes. What are we doing to the employees?
You had a comment.
So, yeah, so, I mean, we do have standard federal mandated family leave, and we do know that anyone that experiencing this does qualify for short-term disability and has paid sick time. So our concern is if there is school closures, that staff follow the same protocols they would for a snow day, and if that requires them to be out of work, we understand, as per the new policies that are out, that there is a short-term disability possibility for them. But
We're still finalizing what to do. I guess now we know that there's a school closure Wednesday. We're hopefully going to finalize tomorrow or Wednesday morning, maybe about already employees to maybe give a little more leeway.
It's a half day, right? It's a half day. It's,
for some reason.
it's not very clear. I think it's so they can have a meeting with their staff and training about it. It's not, I think people are over pushing that it's about the virus. It's so they can train everybody with the same message like we are trying to do here. That's why we had a meeting this morning with the JCPD. That's why Brian had a meeting with all directors. That's why the mayor will have a meeting to follow up with us. That's why we continue. And that's why I'm willing to speak about this to all of you at the same time, because it just makes more sense that everyone hears the same message. We can only do what we can do. There's no quote-unquote cure yet, and there's no vaccine, so bringing people anywhere to do anything with them isn't something we can do. You know, obviously we had that opportunity with H1N1, took longer to get here. There was, you know, a availability for vaccine, and we, you know, rolled that out, I think pretty effectively.
Can I, actually, Councilman Richwood and myself, almost close to 3 weeks ago, we toured Houston Medical Center and California Christ Hospital regarding for coronaviruses. But at the time, Councilman Richwood and myself, what the feeling we get actually seems like they're not ready for that, you know, any major issues, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Christ
So,
Hospital.
yeah. We was very disappointed that part of it. I'm going to make it straightforward. Number 2, even though they have a contained virus, like they didn't see that any major symptom like a couple of weeks. In the meantime, they're working around to spread the virus. So I strongly recommend it. Even I do that. We have next week Tuesday our civic association meeting. We canceled it, you know, and we're supposed to have another reception in the hall here. I canceled it, you know.
Yeah, we're also finalizing our policies on travel and for city employees for conferences and stuff like that, and also large public gatherings. We haven't totally determined exactly where we're going to go with it, but other cities are doing that.
Yeah, one of the things I guess concern is that was a March 20th Mayor's the
State of the city, yeah.
I think we're going to put a couple of the people, like the chambers, take great risk. So far we don't see any patient yet, you know what I'm saying? But you never know.
No, and that's a big part of this is also personal responsibility, is telling people if you have traveled and if you have been in touch with someone that has traveled, please be cautious and not come to an event. But unless they're, you know, truly honest with themselves and everyone else, you know, we see people come to work all the time. I'm not really sick. Oh, it's out. I mean, I sat in a meeting on Friday with my own staff. I got 2 people coughing in the meeting. I'm like, what are you doing here? You know, please leave the meeting. You know,
it's a problem. It depends on the individual. In a couple of weeks, they didn't realize what they have. That's the problem. That's why it's scary. And also, this is today in the United States, this East Coast, it's allergy season.
It's allergy season.
So people are coping. Even myself have allergy. I have like uncomfortable here because we know there's an allergy season. So which is allergy with a symptom, with those things mixed with together. I mean, please, it's not easy, you know what I'm saying? So
we're encouraging people to stay home. The key differentiating factor there, and I'm not a doctor, but the fever is the key thing. So if you have a temperature, then take other steps.
So if I recommend it, if a city and a cultural fair, any department have, like, not even major event, you know, if you have a certain amount of people is gathering, we should be called off. Even, what are they called, the Harvard University also. If anybody cut a certain amount, they cancel all the event.
Let me
I
ask you
think it's cautious is take that action. I think it's the right direction to move. You know, so I.
Yeah,
still-
universities have a lot of international students, and so that's one of the things, students are traveling, and we are coming up against holidays where more students are going to be traveling, or teachers that are traveling. And so that is a very traveling-oriented population, and
But not only that, Jersey City, most of diversity in the United States.
It will.
That means we are the most high risk, the coronavirus area compared with any town.
Let me ask this question. Now, let's say Jersey City calls a state of emergency or gets quarantined. Do we, as a council, the moment we get that notice, because we really never get notices, we hear it just like everybody else does. Can we get a notice and we all meet here, or do we have to sunshine this week? I don't know how, that's why I'm asking the question.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And then you meet and inform us exactly what's going on. Because
Well,
we don't know.
so to-
Everything is
to
unknown, but I
clarify-
want to make sure if something happens, this council can
Yeah.
meet.
We're
and
not-
we can be
yeah.
updated. We
Sure.
know we here and
So-
We're happy to send emails out and maybe like we'll figure that piece of it out. But to be clear, we're not going to just quarantine everyone if you're not showing symptoms. We're only going to be quarantining people who meet the threshold of having the symptoms of the virus until they get tested.
and that threshold might lower every day,
I
and
just
it
want
was,
us to be, see,
Sure.
I just want us to make sure we informed. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure there's everything in place right now.
Yeah.
That
Sure.
if it's a state of emergency, we know, okay, it's a state of emergency, we can meet here as a whole council and get briefed on everything that's going on. We don't have to hear from this NJ.com, we don't have to hear from Jersey Journal, I don't have to hear from the New
Yeah.
York Times. We will know firsthand that we all have the same information.
Yeah.
It's like,
right, I think the issue,
to
No, I mean, we
date-
should have that right, we don't, I just
To-
want
yeah.
to make sure legally, because I know
Well,
we have the
But I guess
sunshine law, everything.
If there's a state of emergency called, does the sunshine law sort of, are we exempt from that in case of a state of an emergency?
They don't know.
They don't know.
That's why I want to make sure.
well, that, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see exactly what the meets and bounds. Obviously, if there's, a true emergency that is life and property, et cetera, then.
And we should be able to get here, because sometimes when there's a state of emergency, because I used to work the hospital, only the hospital employees was able to travel,
Yeah.
because it was a state of emergency. But
So
they
we
would
had
stop
this
you, so-
conversation at the
Yeah.
Office of Emergency Management today. It's only emergency response individuals that are technically able to travel if the state calls a full state of emergency.
Correct.
We don't believe that that's going to happen this week, so in preparation that might happen. Well, because tracking all, you've seen that there's about 100 people that are quote-unquote not yet under investigation, but are being tested for other things until they become PUIs. We still have a very low rate, and so that's, the state government can make that decision. So that's also something that we, Brian, maybe we can, because federal HHS contacted us today, asked us for, in addition to talking to the mayor, they wanted, Brian and John Manila's information so that they can follow up with the chief of staff and the business administrator if the federal Health and Human Services Department had protocols or new protocols. I mean,
So another my concern is that, actually this is to happen to my family, the Saturday and Sunday. My brother, when he got to Home Depot, people actually, the racist things happen. And then my sister goes shopping Sunday, as racist things happen. So, this is, my brother and myself, well-educated,
Yeah.
dressed, but there were anti-Asian things going on, actually statewide.
Well, this is countrywide. I don't know if you've been informed that the city of New York has had to kind of step in to support economic development concerns in Chinatown because of this increased concern.
I recommended the business administrator and the council president to speak with the mayor. They should may hold the news conference about anti-Asian, but not only Asian, Italian, the French people, German people. It's almost everywhere now. I think about specifically targeting the Asian. I think is unfair things one. You know what I'm saying? So about time the mayor should be go out the public. Jersey City is not only any anti-Asian based on the cause or based on the national, we should do something, take some more proactive matters, you know?
Yes,
So please,
sure.
Okay, go ahead.
recommend that, okay?
I have a couple of questions. Maybe probably you might have missed this when I was out. The first one is, do we have a sense of how many people in Jersey City are getting tested? Because
Yes,
it's a national-
0, because they do not meet the criteria. We have tested approximately 70 individuals since January 26th, have come to the health department, have expressed some type of flu-like symptom, and have been treated and are negative. We have only tested 2 individuals because they presented, right, with all the criteria that they may have traveled somewhere near somewhere and are presenting, and both of those have come up negative. So at this current time, we have 0 individuals presenting anything for us to test.
Wait, what about, I mean, this isn't, it's not you guys, but now that we have a community spread versus people who, travel specifically, are we, and the federal government has sort of dropped the ball on getting less available, but do we have a sense of, can we expand the criteria?
We can't. The government has to, the state government, we don't have access to these kits. They won't give us access to these kits. These kits are only at testing centers. And so we're waiting to see, after the meeting earlier today, we had Hudson County Health Commission in that meeting. We're hoping that by the end of today, we align with New York City's policies and reduce that. But the second side of that is, then everybody runs to find a test. Then if it's negative and they don't have any of these things, like, we know healthcare, and we know that this becomes a major concern for.
How are we in terms of getting information, especially Jersey City, New York, similar, so many different languages, different people, getting this type of information on what you're supposed to do to all the primary care providers and sort of
Yeah,
different languages?
so there is a link system. If none of you are on it, Sean is on it, I am on it, and every medical professional should be on it, so we know who's not on it, and we work closely with which is why we have this current grant to do public health detailing, to literally knock on doctors' doors and say, you know what, if you've not signed up for links, it's really important that you do, for many reasons, because we're combating many other diseases that we aren't discussing today, but that come up in the communicable disease reporting and surveillance system every day. So that's, we've managed through the last 3 years without a measles case. Measles is airborne, this virus is not. Measles we handled pretty well.
To know as
Yes.
well. That's why.
Right? So measles for us was a big deal because you can be on the path, and for 4 hours after you got off the path, anyone that got on the path can get this virus. That is not the case with COVID-19. It is communicable and non-airborne. So.
See, you're gonna say that, let's put it this way. When we spoke to the doctors, when they reach and myself, before they take, please, if you don't correct me, before they take a coronavirus test, before that, they have to take 4 different tests first.
No, actually 14 different
14?
tests.
See, that is our problem right now. Because of that, while they took a
And that's what we've asked for as well. We need to make them available because this is the CDC protocol. We don't even physically have access to the tests at the health department. We work with each doctor to schedule a time so that the doctor's office is closed, the doctor is protected, no one is in the waiting room, and an individual goes in and gets testing. This is what we've done for measles, this is what we do for mumps, this is what we do for any infectious disease, and that's mass care protocol, part of emergency systems function, ESF 6.
So while the 14 tests and while they're waiting for the person go around spread disease all
No, while they're waiting, they are quarantined.
Yes, but quarantine, but that is the problem because they have nobody at the lock them up in the door. They go around, you know what I'm saying? Because that's why when they quarantine, we have to able to provide the way you plan to. I like that they plan provide the food and the basic supply. We should deliver it to them to make sure they not go out by toilet paper, waters, anything like that. We should more positive, proactive to try to stop those things. Other than that, when it hit the Jersey City, it can be serious.
Yes, it can.
We next up to past trends. What are they?
And then, so Michael just got back to me. I'm gonna have a conference call with him in the morning to discuss a Jersey, like a united conversation about reminding people what to do. We'll also, then bring that to the mayor. We're meeting with the mayor on Wednesday. Nancy did it. And so then we'll align that, so it's...
Just please, that's a your role, that your department, but only one I'm concerned that as a city council wise, if anything fundings are required, speak with the business operator, we maybe
Yeah, I think we're waiting...
some emergency fund.
Yeah, so if the state, which we're supposed to hear today from the Office on Aging, if they're gonna cover all Meals on Wheels, and if they make a recommendation to close any of the congregate sites, we're adding them to 14 days of meals. And so that's about, right now, we think we would need 12,000 meals. We have 4,500 meals already here that we will be delivering to highest risk. And then, if the Office on Aging doesn't cover it 100%, then that's coming to you.
Okay, please. So anything you guys need that the city council is supporting, and then please let us know. We'll try to work it on, okay?
The U.S. Army Express, if it does,
New York,
take action.
you guys wear guidance saying that any, people with underlying conditions should not basically, because they can't avoid.
I think I mentioned that we've put something in every Meals on Wheels package that we've sent out today, and we're calling all of the seniors with the Swift 911, our reverse 911 system, because we know, one, our Meals on Wheels clients are homebound, so we know that there's comorbidity there. We haven't issued a direct, but I did speak to Stan today and to Kim, and I think by the end of the day, they'll have something that goes out, just telling people that if you already are immune compromised, which we did post. We did a flyer, I believe we sent it to you on Friday. That's all over the internet and in packets and in English, Spanish, and in basic Mandarin, and then is being translated now with formal translation into Arabic, Tagalog, and other languages that the staff felt were necessary.
Okay, so I just wanted to know we were constantly thinking about similar things recommended.
Yeah.
In terms of Brian's, I think maybe for the Economic Development Corporation, but it would make sense getting us to start planning for small businesses.
Yeah.
And seeing if we can do a loan program. We obviously if we don't get there, but start planning.
Yeah, we're already getting some questions from small and large businesses, mostly the larger ones, corporations. But it's on the radar.
And
happy to talk more.
They have started to experience negative economic impacts, so we can get them a quick loan.
Sure.
And we've met with some of the downtown large firms that are moving either money or credit, and because they're concerned several weeks ago, could have borderline culturally insensitive questions around like, if I am ordering something from China, am I going to get it? And so we went and did formal workshops with security teams, and we've followed up with all of the large leaseors on the waterfront and have asked Housing Code for their listing so that we can follow up with all buildings, just awareness, Purell at the elevator, etc.
Okay, and then, in terms of planning, things get a little bit worse, sort of how can we do government operations where there's much sort of telecommuting as possible, and setting up around different saying, where's that stand?
Yeah, we discussed it. It's 100% possible if we need to get there. The worst case scenario for us is like if somebody comes to City Hall and turns out to be positive, and they've contaminated the building, we have to close the building. That is a scenario that we will be prepared for. We haven't finalized all the details, but that's like sort of the worst case scenario. But for like one-off cases, if an employee has symptoms, we're asking them to stay home to to do things and take sick days.
Yeah, to clarify that, like, take sick days and then,
We're not gonna force people to work from home unless like the building gets shut down.
Yeah, they should take their sick time, they qualify, there's several, and then, no, what we did, and this is something I mentioned to Brian, and I mentioned at the briefing, and everyone's like, sounds like a good idea. When we had Mom's Concern several years ago, there was like a small community of families that had like a mom's party, because that's like culturally what they did in the country that they came from. And we, told the kids they couldn't go to school, and one of the parents who didn't live or didn't work in Jersey City and didn't have a job that paid her to stay home, we paid her to stay home.
See,
And that's something that would cost a lot of money, but this would have to only be really really clear protocol. Like, you've run out of sick days, but you actually have the virus and we're telling you to stay home. This is not for every single person that's scared and wants to be home. These are things that as a government we can make those decisions to cover and support people that only get 40 hours of sick leave.
so do me a favor. It's not a favor, actually. It's a more protection plan better than less. If I'm you or if I'm Brian, okay, if I'm mayor, probably I set up the front of the city hall, the station. Anybody getting to city hall, we check the body temperature first to get it. In other words, a prevention plan is
Is that before or after they come to this room?
Because when they infected the building or persons in, then too late. That's why, this is good to know that when I do some research in South Korea,
It can be done.
they always do any public building, before anybody gets the public building, they do body temperature check first to get it. When they say find out, go to the, what are they called, their director, I feel like I have a fever, I'm gonna go home, then too late. They were possibly too late. In other words, we got high risk. But if we just set up one tent outside, anybody in the city will move in the public building, they check the temperature first.
Yeah, I think that's why we kind of moved to an appointment-only protocol to say we'll follow up within 24 hours before that appointment and ask them if they're not feeling well, right? Fever, sore throat, or shortness of breath, let us reschedule. If they've traveled in the last 2 or 3 weeks, or they have family members or have been in touch with people who have traveled, they might want to reschedule. I think that message is really important because I think people come in and out of every public space and are not thinking about it because they feel healthy today. Now, another thing that's really clear and if you are healthy, asymptomatic, you cannot pass this disease. The disease only passes, from all the information we have to date, is if you are experiencing these symptoms. Unlike the flu, which 2 days before you can be contagious. You cannot be contagious unless you are experiencing the symptoms.
No.
That is what the protocol is saying today.
Yeah, actually, when we see that in China.
I know. It's like.
All right, meeting's over. Let's go home.
Well, that's not a sign.
All right. So
That's enough questions. We gotta move on, but I know this is an important topic. I wanted to see some stuff, make sure we
Just my thought process here is that, given that the federal government is doing a bad job of this, it's so hard for us to know if we are seeing a spread in a way that, we wouldn't, so that to me would
We understand
towards
that.
caution.
Yeah.
And not having big gatherings and crowds, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And so,
The good thing though is, as Stacey said, that if you're not showing symptoms, there's very little concern there, so yeah, right.
And as a reminder, everyone that's gotten off a plane from any of these locations that live in our city, we are in contact with.
Thank you, Stacey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tanya?
Like,
Tay.
Stacey, make sure that case.
Okay, on your receipt, item 1010, resolution authorizing execution of memorandum of agreement.
I just got a call.
New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection.
Stacy, you're gonna call me tomorrow, right?
Yes.
By design, Hudson River, recess,
What number?
delay, store, discharge project.
What? What number?
1010.
1010.
1010 on your dial?
Yes.
So I do have about 10 bottles of Bath and Body Works hand sanitizer that I will be selling outside.
There's a price tag.
$9,000.
That's right.
They're selling a cost though, right? Yeah.
I've been waiting to get rid of them. They've been in my bathroom.
Like, 1010? It can't be 1010.
So, if you're not familiar with Rebuild by Design, that was the federal competition that was done after Superstorm Sandy, and Hoboken was the winner. And they have been spending all of these years coming up with a plan for Rebuild by Design, and the federal government has been giving them, I think it's like $16 billion or something like that, and it's being built by the DEP. And part of the system that they're building is a deployable wall that will be over by Jersey and 18th Street. And so they need easements to install basically the gate post. The wall obviously isn't going to be there all of the time, but because it's on Jersey City property, they do need easements. This is the memorandum of agreement that was worked out with, I believe, Ray Reddington and some of our staff. I can go through it if you'd like. I think the bigger take-homes are that any damage or things that are done because of the installation will be paid for by them. We will talk about a maintenance program further down the line for the actual installment when the wall is there. And I believe that's really it. It's really kind of more of a protocol thing right now.
Question?
Yeah, so just a couple questions. So I understand that first, this is city, there's a city land that we're giving them easements on?
Yeah.
And do we have a map of what our easements are so that we can visualize it?
Yeah, I mean, I have a Rebuild by Design map, and you can see the wall. I'm not sure 100% if it shows the actual gate placements, but it probably does. I can email it around, no problem.
Okay. And are we sort of, for lack of a better word, getting anything? Like, are we sort of granting an easement to build a wall on the city land? Are they giving us anything?
It's a deployable wall, and so it's a little bit confusing, so it only goes up when there's a flood.
So basically, they sort of only come on when.
Correct. Right, and what we've been told is that it doesn't help or harm us, if that makes any sense.
Sure. We'll have zero impact on Jersey City.
It won't help us, but it won't hurt us, and they have tried multiple alternates. And the only other way to do it is to basically take up all of, I think, like PSE&G's, Verizon's, and the, not the Turnpike, New Jersey Transit's utilities to not do it here.
And does this, the easements and the deployable wall impact the sort of potential light rail station and the proposed development?
So we've been having conversations with them since we've started this, and the wall will not impact the light rail. That I can say for certain. How much that wall is going to impact that piece of private land is questionable, but it will absolutely not impact the light rail. If anything, the wall and the light rail station will kind of be one and the same, because it needs the light rail is going to have to be on a platform anyway.
Okay, if you can set this up.
Yeah. Yep.
Questions?
Yeah, it's a page 12 of 31. They have an easement area. Actually, Councilman James Solomon said if we have a map, actually, so well we can more visually understand the effect.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, I called a couple of times, you never called me back. What's the matter with you?
Wait, what'd you say?
He said he called you a couple of times, you never called him
And
back.
I called
You called me?
Sure, what's
Right.
the matter with you? I okay? Bro, listen, that's not what's the matter with
That's what he said. You know, Tom,
you? That's what I said? I called a couple of times, you didn't call me back. What's the matter with you?
Where'd you call me?
Okay, I called you this morning, 9 o'clock.
This morning?
Yeah,
I
he
wasn't
was
in
the
this
office,
morning.
So I just want to make sure that, but I'm going to ask you that tomorrow I'll call you back, okay?
you're waiting tomorrow.
I'll be there,
Be
maybe.
careful.
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Okay.
Happy Moment?
And happy birthday, right?
Thank you.
Oh, Tana.
Tanya, you didn't call me back either.
10:11.
10:11?
And 10:29, I'm sorry.
So,
1011 is a resolution of the municipal council of the city of Jersey City authorizing acceptance and execution of the flood entitlement grants for BG, ESG, HOPWA, and HOME, and authorizing program contracts under flood entitlement programs for program year April 1st, 2019 through March 31st, 2020.
All right, hurry up before Michael comes back.
oh yeah. So, I think I've explained this before. Our HUD entitlement grants, which is the four that Sean just listed, has to be more recently had been broken apart because our agencies, our nonprofits were not ready when we were ready to submit. So we're hoping that the remaining organizations that are part of fiscal year's contract will be able to go into contract. So for this resolution, you've got the Girl Scouts, PAPCOM, Greater Bergen, St. Joseph's School for the Blind, St. Paul's for the Caring, Let's Celebrate, both, and then Rising Tide. So that's from all of fiscal year last year's grants. The remaining organizations that are not is Grace Van Forest, York Street Project, Sea Line, Emmett Realty, Habitat for Humanity, Margaret Ann Cusack Center, and St. Anne's for the Peace. So
They are remaining to be authorized?
remaining to go into contract, right? So we had the general resolution that authorized all of these contracts. Unfortunately, we're waiting for like the EEO forms, and it's not on the division, it's really on the agency. So they will be getting one final letter, because we kind of sort of like, we wanted to do this in 3 tranches in some of the things. And considering so the award letter was also very late from HUD last year. So that's what this resolution is, so.
You realize that the funding ends in March?
Yeah, the fiscal year does end. I'm coming towards the end of my fiscal year, so all the reporting, all the invoicing, all that stuff would have to come due, and ultimately, if I don't hear anything, I'll be drafting a letter stating that I have to take the money back, and then most users will get calls about that, but that's kind of sort of where we're at. So we're down to the last 7.
Can you send the council or me a list of those that have not been authorized yet?
They're in the memo.
Are they in the memo?
Yeah, so the one, yeah, it's in the memo, but I'll resend the memo.
Yeah, it's here.
No, if it's here, no.
Okay.
Okay, I see.
Next.
And then,
The next one is item 1029, resolution of the municipal council of the city of Jersey
Sorry,
City.
before we move on, I just realized, so Emmett Realty is one of them.
yeah,
What was it? Penwell.
yeah. That's under the facilities grant.
10:29, right?
Yeah.
1029 is what we're going
Have we
with.
communicated with them directly? Because
Yeah.
You got
Yep,
it?
yep.
She said she sent it over.
We send letters, we communicated with them, and ultimately, this will be the last letter
Right.
before the next meeting, because we're coming towards the end of the fiscal year. So,
I was under the impression that they were not doing their projects in this year and so forth, so.
10:29, he said?
Yeah, maybe that's why I'm responding, but maybe it's all,
What does that have to do with?
I mean, I
just
had
to release
a,
them
they
already,
went back to the
get this
last
money released so we can allocate it somewhere else. If
okay.
they're not really gonna take it, like, why drag this out?
But they're supposed to respond to her.
Yeah.
Why she's sending another letter.
Yeah. Yep.
Follow the protocol.
It's almost 6 o'clock already.
I mean, I was surprised when they suggested to me that they were.
Okay, got it.
So 1029 is a resolution of the municipal council of the city of Jersey City authorizing the business administrator to execute a partial mortgage discharge regarding the property located at 78 Martin Luther King Drive. It's commercial space in Jersey City, also known as Block 25601, Lot 1.C8001.
Any questions on this? This is just, this is discharge of mortgage, so we can move forward with 70 AM, okay? For C-line. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Joanne here and others.
Let's get along with the show.
Okay. All right, any questions on first reading ordinance, item 3.1?
Yeah.
This is from
I got a
James.
question, and it's a serious question.
This is James.
We
This is
can wait till he
James.
gets back.
Okay.
Who comes back?
James Solomon.
Oh,
Councilman, welcome back, Dad.
I'm not happy.
I promise. Everything's
Keep
great.
the order back to the yearly supply. Yeah, we
Second
changed
reading,
the
let's
middle
go through
again.
it.
Don't do that, folks.
Second readings, go ahead, we'll come back to one with
Item
James.
4.1, any questions?
no.
Okay, item 4.2, any questions?
No.
Item 4.3, any questions?
No.
Item 4.4, any questions?
No.
Just, can you speak again to the, what's Hudson County's role in this? So we're giving them $100 of the fees?
They have the contract with the vendor, we're signing out to it. It's like a cooperative purchasing agreement kind of thing. So they are
used to be the change
like central agency that did the procurement process, and then the city, the towns in Hudson County can sign
We
on to
tried
it.
you
And
on a
there's
couple of years, but then we moved on.
Can you give me the contact of Hudson who's dealing with this? Or I just want to talk to them about how this program's
Please,
running.
where's your father, Joyce?
All right? Okay, Councilman Solomon's back, so before I go on to the resolutions, we're going back to 3.1, the first readings.
All right, I have a serious question to ask on 3.1, and this was asked to me by a couple of women.
Yeah.
When you walk your dog, you use plastic to pick up their poop. So how are they gonna pick it up now?
By hand.
That's not true. All right. No, I mean, so
Yes.
so this bill doesn't really change anything, right? Because the first ban, right, got rid of the thin plastic bags that you get at the CVS. Now what you get are either paper bags or those thick bags. So I mean, I guess you could use the thick bags to do it, but I think a lot of people are you basically figuring out their own solutions, whether that's going to the store and buying their own bags, whether it's using paper, whether it's using the thick bags, et cetera. But I think this doesn't change that reality. This is the system's in place. Does that make sense?
Well, that's my dog tonight.
We can still provide the doggy bags. It's not covered under this.
Correct. The doggy bags are not manned.
Yeah.
No, sorry, let me be clear. Yeah, they're not manned.
Doggy bags
We
are
have a
down.
You don't get them at the store.
Yeah, we have a doggy bag thing on the corner.
Yeah,
I stopped to pick up
that
my
is
dog.
not included yet.
Right, that is not included.
Okay.
So I gave everybody, I passed it out again, I sent everyone this memo, so if you, wants to take a version of it, we'll pass it around. And then the other thing I can pass around is the letter from the Environmental Commission. So, I should have got it. So, we want to say letter from the Environmental Commission in support. So the short version, I have to the letter. Sorry, the letter. So the short version is when we passed the original ban on plastic bags, we had to rush because we thought the state might come in and prevent us from basically legislating, because there was a bill that had been passed at the state level that the governor ended up vetoing. Because he vetoed it, it gives us some more leeway, and Hoboken actually just did basically what we're proposing here. And the reason to propose it is I think it just sort of takes us a step further. The issue with the way our current ban is written is it doesn't actually end up significantly reducing plastic consumption as best as we can tell, because if you guys have seen the big thick plastic bags that stores are now selling, and then those fit under our sort of reusable bag. They're basically deemed to be reusable, but they're thick plastic bags. And if the goal is reducing plastic, that sort of takes us back a step. And they've looked at cities that have done this. And the cities that have seen huge reductions in their plastic bag usage have done two things. The first is they've said no to the thick plastic bags. They said you can't use those at stores anymore. The point is to reduce our plastic. And the second thing they've done is they've put a small fee on paper bags. And what that fee does is it reminds people that you really should be bringing your own reusable bag to the store. And in the cities that have done that, and the memo outlines it, you basically have seen, 90%, 75% reductions in those single plastic bags, which are the ones that get in the waterways and pollute our environment. And Hoboken just adopted these because they think probably it's the best practice based on the research as far as we're able to tell. The other issue is they've looked at it, is there a big economic impact? California did it many years ago now. The economic impact of individual people is extremely small. I think the number was under $5 for a calendar year. So obviously that's not nothing for people, but it's not any more than so many of the different fees and things that our city offers. And then they have looked at, again, the impacts and seen those huge drops. So that's sort of the summary of where it comes from. A few folks reached out to us that was asked us to work on it, which is how it came before us. And last thing I should say is it's written to give businesses all of 2020, so that none of this would apply during the year 2020. It would only go into effect until 2021 to give folks more time to adjust to the change.
So they're going to charge for these, I'm sorry, they're going to charge for these as well?
They would charge for
these bags.
So what would happen would be if you go to the store, right, if you bring your own bags, no charge. If you get a paper bag, there would be a fee per paper bag. It would be like 10 cents, which is what we've done in these other cities, California, Seattle, Chicago have done it. Again, the impact being less than 5 cents, some less than $5 over a year. The store keeps all the money, so the city doesn't get any of it. And the idea is to give the store the incentive to do it. And some stores are charging a fee now. Like if you go to some stores,
for a bag?
yeah, so a lot of them. And then the reusable bags. So this sets the limit for the paper bags, I believe, at 25 cents. You can't charge, it's 10 to 25, as I believe it's in the ordinance. You can't charge more than 25. But for the reusable bags, it's not the paper ones, you can charge, I believe they can charge more if they want, but they would charge $1, and those are the cloth ones. Sort of cloth paper.
Moving forward, you're talking about.
Moving forward, right. But even today, some of the stores are charging
$1 for a plastic bag.
Right, which you shouldn't do. I mean, because it's plastic, right? It's not a reusable bag. Plastic, classified as reusable, but it leads to the plastic pollution that we're trying to stop.
So your memo says, when's the implementation?
So it should be amended in the ordinance, because the memo, when I send it out for feedback, a couple of people that asked, so the ordinance should say January 1st, 2021.
Because the memo says June 1st, 2021.
Right, I know, but I sent the memo out to you guys for feedback, and the feedback came back, and then we amended the ordinance. So the ordinance should say January 1st, 2021.
Councilman James Solomon,
Yes.
I understand your intention, it's a great intention, but actually if we see a reality in the street, actually we have to understand, we just passed that last year, and a lot of merchants try to adjust their business style with that, without single-use bag to provide, It will take a time to have it. And if you see that here, the most, practically most the retail stores, they order plastic bag, actually yearly supply they do, as with the printing, So now, it's almost 3/4 of the month is gone of the year, and then now you try to change it January 1st to, it's cost for them, So in other words, and also, so if you look at it, in the even single bag user ban in the state of New Jersey, 9 small towns out of 565 municipal government. Actually, we are actually proud to say that we are ahead of the game, So if I my strong recommendation, maybe less currently exist. Even the city of New Jersey is not able to enforce that at the single bag user stores because we gotta give them time. So even when I experience the business, I personally like a yearly supply, So if they say you cannot use it, then what am I supposed to do this one? We gotta dump it somewhere, right? So if we recommend it, if we try to like a 2022, give us some time. And also, if you see, probably the Filipino store too, the people buy shopping like once a month or twice a month. No, Korean stores like that, they buy like a 20 shopping bag, in a 20 shopping bag. So if 10 cents, 20 cents, it sounds like a nothing, but if you see, it's a something too. So
Bring bags.
the best recommendation, I'd like that, your intention is respectable, but let's move on to what we have now. Maybe 22, give it time, so still, we got plenty of time, and maybe you can come up and and also, if you see that there is stronger recommend like the reusable bag, no question about it, but also plastic, the paper bag.
Right.
Actually, paper bag more air polluted and the polluted people more than plastic bag. Why they call plastic bag? If you read the history, very interesting. They call plastic bag, try to protect, contaminate the rivers and the ocean. And now we print the other way around, the push that they provide paper bag. The paper we make like trees. When they trees use that to make a paper bag, they were contaminating the rivers and the oceans. It's worse than make a plastic bag. So I supported that we have a marine life or so and so, but I think we rush too much.
Well, I think you bring up some very good points, and that's why I should address them. So let's address the first one, the issue of paper bags. The current ordinance doesn't charge a fee for a paper bag. And so what happens is what we've seen in other cities that don't have the fee for the paper bags is you see people just using paper bags and not bringing their reusable bags. So you do have pollution issues with paper bags. They are recyclable, which is why they're better than plastic bags. But that's why that extra fee, which our current ordinance doesn't have, is really important, and why you've seen other cities adopt it. So I do think that matters, right? Right now, the cities that have put that fee on have seen the biggest drops in plastic bag consumption and people bringing their reusable bags. In terms of the implementation time, I think we're flexible. If you guys talk to your small businesses and they say, look, we ordered a year's supply a month ago, so make this implementable a year from now, I think that's fine. It gives us more time to implement it. We thought 9 months was a sort of fair amount of time, but if the feedback you get is it should be longer, that's totally, something we're amenable to.
So, and also the page 305, to 263-11 exemption. So in other words, if you put for welfare program, they waive the fee, but doesn't matter they are receiving the welfare or not, the protection environment, they all should participate in the program. You know what I'm saying? So I think sounds like because we create the law to protect the environment, but if we, in the meantime, if it's your welfare, you don't have to pay.
The idea is that if you're...
if it's a minimum cost, the way we say, it's supposed to be, because I respect it, really good, there's nothing wrong with it, but time-wise, we're not even, in the most merchant, even myself, is not fully adopted what we passed last year. Give us some time, you know what I'm saying? So like a couple of years try, then we can move on next one,
I think we have enough evidence to know that, from looking at other cities, that with the thicker plastic bags with no fee is not a good combo. But again, more time is something more flexible.
Yes, charging is the right way to do. Right. That's the way, when I go to the Whole Food, yeah. When they charge, be careful. So, they charge like a 10 cents, 20 cents. It's not the amount, it's like making me shameful. Yes. So it's okay to do that, but
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
James, why are we go ahead, I'm sorry.
So the enforcement component, currently, what is the current enforcement component in today's bill?
Health and sanitation both have the power to enforce it. And it's a regular violation of an ordinance if they're found to not be in compliance.
Is there, let's not go there right now. So could we get the number of violations that have been issued since it's been taken effect?
Yeah, I don't know if we've issued any violations yet just because it went into effect just about 6 months ago. And we've been doing mostly warnings, just so we're not trying to hurt anyone right away at this point, yeah.
If there's any data available on that, even warnings, I'd just be interested to know. And then does this change anything as far as that goes, or?
It does. So what it says is that if you're fined once, it's a $100 fine. If you're fined twice, it's $200. And then if any subsequent violation after the first two would be $500 for any third or subsequent violations.
And where do notices fit inside of that?
What do you mean notice? Like how do
Like
we
a
tell?
warning versus,
The gap, like,
Yeah, the warnings are at the discretion of enforcement.
It's not written to the ordinance.
Yeah.
okay.
But I don't think it was written, like,
No.
yeah.
And then beyond warnings, so are those increases over what,
Yes, so what was written is it says, the penalty for a violation of this chapter shall be provided as the general provisions, chapter 125, for a minimum fine of $100 per infraction. So that's what was previously written. This says 100 the first time, 200 the second, and then up to 500 the third, and subsequent. So, no, the first one was, it was a minimum of 100, it could have been higher.
or minimum 100?
Yes, minimum of 100. The revised version, first violation is 100, second is 200, and third is a max of 500, and subsequent. So it's a little bit tougher, although you could have interpreted the original to be, you know.
So my goal is that, yes, give us some time to adjust our new ordinance, couple of years. Then after that, you re-elect the 2021, then put it in the 21. So give us some time, really, Just to keep come up we just paid 3 months ago, and then we come another one, So then people started confused, So I guarantee that if we put it 21, I'll be part of your sponsor together.
Right.
But it's too early,
Why are we removing the food trucks and mobile food carts from food service establishment? I see we're adding food trucks back into
Retail
but I don't see the food carts.
So food carts? Yeah. So I think the goal was to put both of them in so that they would abide by the rules of the ordinance, to make that clearer.
But what's the difference between the food service establishment and I guess the retail establishment? The rules are different?
So my understanding is in the previous ordinance, the food trucks had been exempted. That's my understanding. And so we were trying to clarify to put them in this one.
If you look at the definition of food service establishment, it removes the not including food
Yes,
trucks
there
or
you go.
mobile
And then
food carts.
Correct. And then in retail
It
establishments.
removes both of them.
So what it basically does is it says, again, and I'm open and flexible, you guys think, but the goal was to make it a little tougher, and so to say that the food trucks and any mobile food establishment would have to abide by these rules. They wouldn't be exempted. They previously had been exempted.
Any more questions? Go ahead, next.
Okay, so.
You want the resolution?
Okay, right to the resolution.
One ordinance, look at that.
Yeah.
No needs. Item 10.1, resolution authorizing emergency temporary appropriation. 10.2 is a resolution to cancel a portion of 2019 real estate taxes due to affordable housing restrictions on 131 Dwight Street. 10.3 is a resolution appointing Joanne Rosa as Director of the Department of Human Resources.
Do you have any questions?
I do.
Oh, which one?
Joanne is actually here to field it.
I know, I'm only kidding. Who she is.
Come on up.
Who is it?
Joanne.
She has been the acting director since Mark Bumper's departure.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay.
Questions?
Yep, but I just
Alana's going first here.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
so I'm glad to see that we're looking at an internal candidate, Ms. Rosa. But I have to ask you, because you and I have had several conversations since you've been acting director. In particular, my concerns about recreation. And so I just checked my emails again to see if there was anything. We had talked about the communications that went over to civil service from the city and HR relating to the transfers and the change in titles. You informed me that you would send me copies of the communications in regard to that. I did not receive that. I've sent subsequent written communications to you about that, as well as phone calls, and have not received return communications about that. So I'd like to ask you what the status of all of that, and to explain I guess the lack of communication on that, and even if just to say, denied, right? Like, just inform me that you're not going to release that information. And I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty disappointed about that. That there's a lack of transparency there and sharing information in that regard.
If I may,
Yes.
Council President, that is the current situation in the Recreation Department, including the reorganization, is now subject of not one but two lawsuits. There's active litigation going on in those matters with regard to all of this. Therefore, it is prudent for us at this time to make sure that the matter be handled internally with the law department in conjunction with human resources.
When were those lawsuits filed?
There was a suit that was just filed last week, I believe.
Prior to that?
And the other one was filed, I believe, that was January maybe? A few months ago, yeah. I believe it was January.
Okay. I'd like to see information or any sort of documentation related to the filings of both lawsuits. But that being said, our communication was that you would share it with me, and you would provide that. Do you deny that?
No, I don't.
And so you don't deny that, and yet nothing was shared, even if to say, if the argument was there's a legal matter pending, and ergo we can't provide this information. I don't know that necessarily precludes that from happening. I would dispute that, but again, I'm not an attorney, so I guess I'll have to hire my own attorney at this point on that matter. But I'm pretty sure the council can have information released to us about those records, which I believe are public records, frankly. But I'd still like to hear your explanation on it. I think that the answer that Corporation Counsel has given inadequate, and just inadequate to say even what your failure to communicate a response on any of that.
I do understand your concern. Unfortunately, I don't know if you are aware, there are offices that are very understaffed, and I've been running into a couple of meetings and trying to be working as well with the other departments and division and other litigations and employee relations that are rising constantly within the city. So I do apologize because I haven't been able to get back to you. But as the Corporation Counsel mentioned, these are under litigation, and I was advised that we cannot share that information until further notice.
I'd like that in writing, that information can't be shared due to the legal justifications for that. But that being said, I think the idea or the answer, the response of that we have too much going on, there's literally a copy of a document, right? Like a copy of a document that had to be released, and even if you didn't want to release that, just simply sending a communication or even instructing the law department to share, to provide that communication and a response about that would have been a more responsible action to take in that regard. And so I will admittedly tell you and put this on the record, public record, is that I've said when we first met as acting director, and said as much that as long as we're fair and you were honest with the city council in these matters, I feel like in this particular instance that you are not being transparent and open in that regard, and you're even if you didn't want to release the documentation, to just be able to provide a response that says otherwise is, I think, an abdication of that responsibility to do that. So I'll leave that at that, and I just wanted to make sure we got that on the record.
And I would like to defer because in prior communication that you have with me requesting meetings and phone calls, I have addressed your concerns and also I have answered your question. I do understand that in recent cases I haven't been able to get back to you in a timely fashion, but I would like to get on the record as well saying that I haven't been able, ignoring your calls and not like that. I have been in communication with you prior to the litigation being filed.
So, can I now? Okay. The first thing that the acting director Lawson, it's not the person, okay? Just the way you care about the Jersey City, I care about Jersey City and this city hall. So that's why I'm going to ask a few questions. So, you started Jersey City as January 12, 2019, or previously you worked before that?
No, I started in Jersey City, working for the city in October 24, 2004.
2004, October, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which department to work in?
I started in the Health and Human Services, and I worked there for 10 years. Then I was transferred over to Human Resources, and at the time it was the Division of Personnel.
So because when I see that your resume, so looks like you working January 2nd, 19, the May 27, 19 as Secretary of Jersey Human Resource, HR Department. So that being said, when I see this size of city needing lots of institutional knowledge, actually, state, so I'm not feel comfortable because of maybe you have a short experience. In other words, you didn't have a lot of different case of the, dig into that issue. So, I mean, usually, I'm not saying anything, but we pass, it's some department, we change the director like almost every year. Some department, we change almost every 6 months. So I'm going to raise my concern is that. So, HR department, you work since when? 2017.
No, 14.
2014.
That's the Office of Personnel Transfer?
Yeah,
Yes.
HR department. 2014 you study HR department. What your job was it? So because this resume you only showed the.
You don't need the full resume. It
Can
didn't
you-
load properly, so we only have the page that
Yes.
has
So
starting in
January 2nd,
2019, and then the last page. We seem to be missing a number of pages.
I think there might have been a couple things omitted. It's looking like there were several pages omitted, so I think that we'll circulate everything to everybody tomorrow.
So instead I ask it, what I'm saying, please, can't you provide a full resume so we feel more comfortable?
Oh, of course. That's
And based on this one, I'm not the only one. Even though mayors come up, you ask this council to ask to prove it, probably I'm going to say no. Because the information they provide, I'm pretty sure you have experience with the Human Resource Department, not long enough, to handle the almost 4,000 city employee, And we have a lot of cases. So before we discuss, I like to have a full resume and more detailed job description each position. I think it's provide to us is more feel comfortable. So based on that, the business administrator, I'd like to withdraw this one, till next council meeting. I think that's the proper way.
I'll get to the resume tonight. So.
Anybody else have questions?
Yes.
So this is what is the difference there.
But you know what, Michael, let the rest of them have something to say.
No,
We know you want to withdraw, we got that.
No, I just wanted to know from 2014 until 2019, what was your duties in personnel or human resources?
So I held various positions. When I started in Division of Personnel, I started as the front desk, but I was actually moving on. I was promoted into the supervisory capacity. Then I was promoted into a management, and I was the former assistant of the former director, Mark Bunbury. So in that period of time, I was working very hard, and I was very involved in different areas in the Human Resources Division, and that's why I was being promoted in that short period of time in that capacity.
So how does, you went from front desk to supervisor to management back to secretary? You were the secretary for Mark Bunbury?
Mm-hmm. In a management, and I was in charge of all the daily operations.
It was more of an office manager.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of secretary? Because,
That's why we need the whole resume.
yeah, we need the whole resume, because it says,
It's
secretary, it
hard to
says,
It really is. You don't have a full picture. Go ahead. You have
it
something?
says secretary to management. And, so can we also, just piggybacking off Councilman Navarro, could we also add that to the closed session, the recreation lawsuits and stuff, to discuss that? Is that something that we can discuss in
I think that's a good
closed
idea.
session?
Yeah,
I mean,
because I
we
don't-
already have a closed session coming, but before I forget about,
Yeah.
I'm saying,
So-
okay. Can we add that, Sean?
Yeah.
To the,
That's 9 o'clock in the morning, I just want us to be aware of that.
Okay.
Okay?
So what we're gonna
Right,
do, just make it clear,
unless we cancel the state of the city.
because
City address.
business ownership, we have to make it clear, if you provide the resume to tonight, Saturday, after the Wednesday, at the city council chamber, I'm gonna ask tough questions regarding for the position. I don't wanna embarrass anybody else, you know what I'm saying? So if we, the way that the councilman Robinson is recommended, if we say close the window we discuss is a proper way to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to embarrass anybody, you know what I'm saying? No, so,
She understands that, go ahead, Denise. Let Denise go.
Brian, what are the,
Table.
I guess, what are the, if any, what are the qualifications for the position, like education-wise, certifications?
I could get you the job description. I'll send that out that we used. We did have a lot of people apply. We interviewed, I think it was 6 or 7 candidates. Can't remember the total list, ranging from people who were in HR roles in other nonprofits in the public sector to people in the private sector who are doing HR. But I'll get you the job description as well.
Okay, anybody else?
No, I think maybe just to Councilman Robinson's point, how if there was reception, but then at the title is secretary, but it's administrative assistant, like for us to understand how, is this the civil service title that he
Yes,
had?
that's
that
why
position?
it's
And
like-
how is that secretary different from receptionist? I think that might be helpful for us in understanding the trajectory within the department.
Because when I prepared the resume, it was based on civil service title. It wasn't actually the position itself that I was holding at the time.
so what we're gonna do?
Okay, we're gonna.
You know, and just to be clear, the closed session resolution that we'll prepare to be voted on Wednesday night will discuss matters related to the pending recreation department litigation.
Correct.
And
What's the
the
name of the closed session?
pending matter regarding the immediate predecessor CFO. Generally, what we're talking about here was issues relating to the approval of directors do not fall into the exceptions, the allowed category for closed sessions.
I know her for quite a while, and I think she's gonna do a doggone good job.
Well, what we can do and what we will do is until we get the remainder of the resume out.
Yeah. The job description.
And then I can answer any questions at that point.
But in a closed session, you can discuss just
So we have a
recreation.
closed session?
They just have general questions on recreation. I think.
Yeah, we can attend the recreation department, the CFO issue.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
So we're gonna have that,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So we have, the resolution today is also to move our meeting to 10 a.m., right?
No, it's already at 10 a.m.
It's already at 10 a.m.?
Yes, it's 9 now. Yeah.
No, you're.
Oh, yeah, that's it, yeah, that's right. We're gonna move it to the end.
May I
1 p.m. to 10 a.m.
ask to consider that we do it at 11 a.m. and then have this at 9:30 a.m., this special closed session. And that'll give us a little more time in the closed session, but I think Councilman would consider that, and Council President.
So,
9 a.m.
so,
And then just push the other back to 11. Because you
That's fine,
changed, it
too.
might be 2 hours, so we'll be here at least 2 hours. So it doesn't
fine
make a difference, that
with that,
window
too.
is still there.
Ms. Lewis, it's not
That's
the
fine.
person, okay?
Oh, no, I
So, because
understand.
we already,
That's fine.
till
We're just
this
supposed to
moment,
run it
we have a lot of issue, you know what I'm saying? So, before we not usually work, myself, we usually not actually work any issue, because actually mayor's role to appoint somebody. So I usually let it go, but we had the past couple of bad experience. So I think about time to my duty, you know, as a councilperson. So if they move on Wednesday night, I'm going to ask a very tough question, maybe very sharp, to hurt you a little bit personally, but don't take it as a personal, okay? I straightforward, you know what I'm saying? So,
Voted against me, just saying.
okay, just,
I'll never forget that.
just so you understand, you know what I'm saying, okay?
No, and I would also like to add, I've been doing the acting position for the last 3.5 months.
Since October?
No, November.
November. It's been 4 months. Yeah.
Yeah, 3.5 months. And I know that most of you have prior experience having employees contacting you with certain issues or complaints that they won't be able to see fall through the department. And I'm very certain that since I'm being in the position, you haven't, that amount of phone calls have been decreasing. So that can show you the effort that I'm making sure that the relationship between the employee and employer is very transparent, fair, and considerate.
See, maybe you're the best HR director history of Jersey can be, you know what I'm saying? But I just want to make sure when you get old, you want to just make sure once in a while. You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you, but I'm not
Just-
that young.
yes. So don't worry, it's not
Anybody else
personal.
have questions?
Okay?
Because we need the rest of the information.
So, we're changing the resolution, changing the time for the caucus meeting from 4 PM to 11 AM?
Thanks.
Why are we doing that?
Is that what you want to do?
Caucus meeting.
Yeah, so we changed it to 10 AM, but you said you wanted to.
No, we have to keep it, just
Why
change
would
that
we
to
make it
11
at 10 o'clock?
We do a close caucus at 9.
At 9.
That's all.
So but I still have to change the resolution to
Right.
reflect 11.
Right, that's all. Everything is still in the morning.
Do
Oh,
closed
24. She's
session,
saying
one
12.
closed session just with the two specific topics? We don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to, no, you can do it all at once.
All right, let's move
So I
on.
can do that right now if you guys want me to. We'll just change it to 11. That's it.
You're gonna do that for me?
Do it right now.
Yes. One last thing I have.
Digital systems.
All right. 10.4 is a resolution reappointing Remy Ayed as a full-time judge of the Jersey Municipal Court.
Good man, good man.
10.5 is a resolution reappointing Francis Valchecchio Jr. as a member of the Jersey City Ethical Standards Board.
Okay, so Brian?
Yes.
So 5, 6, 7 is all ethical standard board, right?
Yep.
Appointment, do me a favor, can't you attach that to all resumes?
Resumes?
They should be attached.
They should be in there, yeah.
They were, I recently updated that.
Is it updated?
Yeah, if you look online, it's there. It
Okay.
wasn't attached in the packet that you received though.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah, the resumes are on.
they're
if we see, it's gonna be have somewhere, right?
They're online.
Say,
Go,
Michael,
Yeah.
let's go,
they're
let's go.
online.
Yes, okay.
And then
Okay, so we just touched on those appointments, that's Nicholas Jamie and Victor Nate Ron Jr. Resolution appointing councilperson Mira Cranzeri as a member of the Jersey City.
Can we see her resume?
Where, which one?
My resume's not attached?
that should be on there.
I don't think I put it on.
Oh, you didn't put it on, Sean, we need to update and.
I didn't think I had to put your resume on when you
Listen.
answer all the questions.
I don't get any special
We have
treatment.
to
I didn't get any special treatment.
My resume.
Oh, teasing you.
Okay.
We say
Are you
no.
gonna ask her
Just
tough
like when I
questions
got an
too?
appointment to the LHS board.
What's that?
I'll bring it.
I did?
Surely did.
Where was this?
Resolution reappointing Itmaz A. Syed
I didn't
as
know
a
you
member
did.
of the Jersey City Immigrant Affairs Commission. 1010 and 1011 was touched on earlier. 1012 is a resolution authorizing agreement with Gold Type Business Machines Inc. for providing maintenance and support services for the Department of Public Safety, Police, existing InfoCop server software application created by GTVM without public bidding. 1013 is a resolution ratifying an agreement with Union County to permit Jersey City police recruits to attend Union County John H. Sampler Police Academy.
Okay,
So just with regard to this, to Brian,
Yeah.
the mayor announced his school funding solution and so suggested that there were savings, I guess, related to hiring recruits. So when is that savings realized? Which budget year are we talking about?
Well, the intention was to have those discussions with the council and then make amendments to the budget. So the initial budget didn't have it in there.
You're looking at this budget to do,
What's that?
you're looking at this, the 2020 budget to amend that
Yeah,
to
yeah.
adopt?
Yeah, we can.
accommodate those
Yeah,
things that you put on.
the idea is to prorate the start date for some of the recruits and also to do a little bit less. It's rare that we get all 126 filled anyway. But also, we typically budget starting in like January, February for the recruit salaries, and we have not started them yet, so that's part of the savings as well.
10, 14, and 15 were touched on earlier. 10, 16 is a resolution authorizing the award of contract to AAA Emergency Supply Company, Inc. for self-contained breathing apparatus, parts, and supplies under the state contract with the Department of Public Safety, Division of Fire. 10.17 is a resolution authorizing renewal of contract with Safeware, Inc. for the cleaning and repair of turnout gear to meet the NFPA standards through the U.S. Communities Government Purchasing Alliance for the Department of Public Safety, Division of Fire. 1018 through 1027 were touched on earlier. 1028 is a resolution rejecting all bids received by the City of Jersey City on January 28, 2020 for providing accounting services for the City of Jersey City.
This was the contract, so basically the renewal of the NW Financial contract. The intention was...
The what? I'm sorry.
NW Financial. So previously we had done an RFP for this. The intention was for us to do an RFP to allow us to have multiple vendors to select, and we were doing the financial analyses for example, abatements. If the council says we want a second opinion or we don't want to use NW for this, to do that, but also to help us with some other things. And we got some responses. We didn't love the responses. We're trying to find the right way to go through the procurement process to have multiple vendors available for this and some other things. So we're going to have to change. We didn't realize it at the time, but we have to change the language of the RFP substantially to allow us to do those things.
Yes, that's
so
right.
We're a little delayed here, but we're working through it.
The right directions, because we talk about that IOs include zoning, and that we should have to make sure that this council fully informed that every project, what is a benefit, and by dollar-wise or community-wise.
Yeah, right, and we could have an analysis from NW on that, and then you could say we want a second analysis.
Yes.
We'll have a vendor ready to go for it. That's the point of this. It just taking us a while.
1029 through 1031 were touched on earlier. 1030.
Can I just interrupt? I'm sorry, 1029, just realized there's a typo in the...
Yeah, I caught that myself. Yeah, I don't know if you can make that correction too, Cindy. And
what is
the council was spelled wrong. It wasn't picked up because it's spelled council.
And Corporation Council is spelled on all the ordinances.
I can do that.
Sean,
I'll do it later.
And Sean, just to clarify, 1032 is going to be withdrawn.
1032?
We need to. We had a little difficulty in our end getting some agreement circulated, so that's
withdrawn. Okay,
yep.
great. 10.33 is a resolution renewing the professional service agreement with
Abruzzese, McDermott, Mastro, and Murphy PC.
To represent the City of Jersey City in the matter of the Jersey City Police Officers Benevolent Association versus the City of Jersey City.
Question. To Brian.
Yes.
So I had written to Director Shea and Director Moody on March 2nd and copied you on it to provide more information about the current off-duty program and assignments.
Yeah, I spoke to Twan about it, and I cannot remember what she said, so let me follow up on that. We talked about it like an hour after your email, and I can't
they said it's very simple. They want him to work for Rising and another company, Kramer. I think it's Kramer. But I'll tell you something right now, the cops are very unhappy about it. And that's satisfying.
So just for the record, I'd ask for clarification about which, as he said, Verizon and PSE&G.
I think it's that other big company that does...
Which assignments, is my understanding that some of the SIDs are also utilizing off-duty officers. And so what is... And so my...
I got to follow up on Twan.
I just want to say it for the record, so it's on the public record on that. And so the question was also that how that off-duty program is being administered. My understanding is no longer a lottery, but I don't know that, and it's based on seniority. So I'd like to get clarity about that and who's administering that as well. And what specific jobs are being apportioned there as opposed to others. And
losing the houses, cops can't.
And why those jobs versus, say, MUA jobs or whatever other jobs are being done by flaggers or other things like that.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, 1034 is a resolution ratifying the award of a professional service agreement for Riker Danzing, Highland, and Peretti LLP to represent the city of Jersey City, town of Moroni, and Matthew Ward in the matter of Pegasus Enterprises LLC versus the city of Jersey City.
What is this one?
Excuse me?
What is that?
This was, it's a dispute over redevelopment designation. We believe there was a resolution last year and the plaintiffs refiled as was their right. So this is an ongoing issue, but is a new contract because there's a new docket number attached.
This is Bates Street.
Yes, correct.
This is the Bates Street redevelopment plan.
What?
Bates Street redevelopment
Oh,
plan.
basically.
Item 1035 is a resolution ratifying the renewal of professional service agreement with Light, De Palma, Greenberg, LLC to represent the city of Jersey City, Tommy Curtis, Greg Smith, Montgomery, and Alexis Eisenberg in a matter of Nakia Wiggins versus the city of Jersey City. 1036 is a resolution renewing the professional service agreement with Cleary, Cody, Jacobs LLC to represent the former mayor Jeremiah Healy and the city of Jersey City member Valerie Montone, John Astrop versus the city of Jersey City. And we're gonna add item 1037, closed caucus. Law department will provide that resolution in detail of what we're gonna be talking about in that closed caucus and the time being at 9
9 a.m. on Monday, March 25th.
So, Peter,
Yes.
1036, so far we use almost $500,000 for the cost of the lawyer, this case. You know, did you see any lights or tunnels, anything like that? You know?
We do. So,
okay, so what is it?
I can't discuss that in
Closed session, let's just.
If you like, if you want to discuss that in closed session, I would maybe recommend we do that at
Yes, please.
two meetings from now.
Yeah, add it to it, okay?
No, 2 meetings from now, you got 2 already in your closed session. I
So
think
we-
that one would be
I mean,
different.
can you put another items? Because it's very simple.
It may not be that simple. He's saying that needs to be
We're only have
separate.
like a 2-hour slot.
That's
Yeah,
it.
12 is not enough.
No, it's not.
Recreation and the other.
No.
Yeah,
No.
12 is enough. This is like 10 minutes more.
Council President, I'll leave it up to you.
I'll explain.
Okay. So I just wanted to get clarity about ordinance 20-015, which is 11.15. Councilman Robinson, you tabled this last meeting. Is it still going to remain on the tabled agenda, or what's the? I'm fine either way. I just want to understand.
Which one? What's that?
Ordinance 20-015, which is
It's item 11.15.
All right, tabled it.
From last week.
keeping it on the table.
Yeah, the Morris Canal. No, that's coming off.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna open up the public hearing, public speaking, right?
So,
Yes, it was after the public speaking.
so it was closed after public speaking?
Right.
Myself and Councilman Robinson were at the community meeting. You want to explain it? Or-
Yeah, we was at the community meeting. They explained themselves, and they just wanted to know if they would be able to speak. And so, right, but because I guess it was a last minute.
I'm just,
Say it again?
you guys was at the meeting and y'all spoke, and we already had the public speaking, so why are we going to speak again? I'm just trying to follow.
So they wanted to make sure that the community was able to express, if any, concerns. Not that we saw any concerns.
But, I don't know, I'm trying to find out, but y'all was there.
Can
Can
I-
you express any concerns?
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
I did hear concerns, but I'll
That's
say.
what I'm saying.
So, it was, the way I heard it as well at the community meeting is that, because they weren't aware of the amendment, they weren't able to speak at the last meeting because they weren't knowledgeable enough to speak on it, right? And so they learned that it was moving from 16 stories to 24 stories, and so they wanted to express their thoughts on that, whether positive or negative. Some folks were okay with it, and others were not necessarily, but, and so they asked if they would be able to speak on the public record, and we said the public meeting, public speaking was closed, although it could be reopened if a council member motioned to do that, and that if the council as a whole agreed to reopen the public hearing. For my part, and Councilman Robinson, we said we would make the motion to reopen it and ask that the council reconsider and hearing from the public on that matter.
I think they concerned more than anything was that for the language of sewer height bonus. They just want to know that this won't come up again in another redevelopment plan. The sewer height bonus, because they said they never heard that
Maybe we
language.
need to just bring the developer probably and then change the wording or whatever. I seem like y'all should have handled it at the meeting. That's all I'm saying. Because it seemed like if it's not handled at the public meeting, then we're gonna spend another hour trying to handle something that you created a public meeting for.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
it wasn't a public meeting, it was the Morris Canal. So basically the language in the Morris Canal said that if any developer has to go in front of them to talk about the amendments, right? They never went.
This was a Morris Canal meeting. This was an RP.
Right, it was a Morris Canal meeting, it wasn't a community meeting. Remember the night we had the whatever committee meeting? It wasn't our meeting. We was there. Remember the night we had the committee meeting? I left to go back there. But it wasn't our meeting. It was the Morris Canal monthly meeting that the developer just went and presented.
Big favor things. I don't like that idea.
So what it was the developer didn't ask. It was the MUA that came to us and said that they needed to not have that land covered. Because as of right now, it's a building on the land. It's a one-story structure on the land over a 7-foot city man.
It seemed like you're not clear on really what the public wants. It wasn't the council's meeting.
No, it wasn't the council meeting. No.
But they want to come and express how they feel. I think the best recall, this is just me, is that y'all have a community meeting. And because if the people not with this, it doesn't make sense to even go forward. That's what it seemed like, that's what you need to have. You need to have the MUA there, you need to have the developer there and have a community meeting. Then whatever they agree to, then you can come back to us. If we have to change this or accept this, then I think we'd be going in the right direction. But it seemed like right now, we just say, okay, let them come back and tell how they feel. And if they don't agree to it, then we got to pull this back out and say, let's change this again. It seemed like you need to have a community meeting to see what the people want. Because you're saying it's not your meeting.
No, it wasn't our meeting.
It was post a meeting. It was
right, but I'm saying, because you're saying one, there's a group that's for it, there's a group that's against it. So it seemed like the developer and the MUA need to be there to see what the community wants so they can agree with and then bring it to us, because you guys will know it. And then we'll say, well, this is what the community wants or this is what they don't want. Could you remove this language? Can you not? I'm just saying, it seemed like, because then what will happen is, if we open a public hearing up again, they just going to tell us what they don't like, and we're going to have to go back, okay, can we change this again? But it seemed like you can do that before you bring it to us. That's all I'm saying. It seemed like you guys can handle this before it get to us.
Yeah.
That's the point of a community meeting to me.
No, I get it. I mean, I don't think it needs a separate community meeting. I don't know about you, Rolando.
I don't know.
Did you see from that meeting that?
I'm just saying, they asked to speak publicly if it was going to be removed from the table agenda. The community asked to have it, to be able to speak at that meeting. We informed them of what the rules are, that you can't open it unless a council member makes a motion to do that. And for my part, I said I'd support that, to reopen it, but I'm okay with having another meeting, but...
It'd be you guys' meeting, because you're saying this was not your meeting.
No, it was just a community, the monthly meeting for the Morris Canal.
Right.
I mean, council, I'll say for my part...
We're not clear on it, because then they'll come and tell us how they feel, and we're not clear.
I'll say for my part that if it was to be removed from the tabled agenda, I wouldn't be okay with voting on it because I already gave my word that I'd support opening it for a public meeting, public speaking. So I'm okay with doing another meeting with the community councilman and then rehashing that stuff out again and seeing if something can be done.
It seemed like part of the public is not happy. And so I'm just trying to say, okay, instead of wasting the public time, what is it they want with the MUA and the developer? It seemed like they want some more conversation or they want something different.
The only thing, and maybe I'm wrong, the only
because
thing
we would sit up there and we would have to come to that conclusion And then we would say, could y'all go speak on the side? Because it's not clear. I'm telling you.
The only thing that I heard was that they won't see that language again.
Okay, see, and that's.
That was the only thing that I heard. I didn't hear, people said, wow, that's a big building, but I mean, there's the rec center building, right? It was 16 stories or 14 stories. I got a word that the people down there said they wanted to go up to 20 stories. That's what the same exact people that said this building may be too big, asked for this building to go up to 20, the other building to go up to 20 stories. I talked to the director a little while ago about it. She said she didn't hear that yet, but that's what I heard.
Go ahead, Denise. I got you.
No, I was just saying if we untable it that night and there's still issues, we're not gonna be able to vote on it.
That's what I'm saying. It seems like there's still more issues here.
Like I said, the only issue that I heard, maybe I'm wrong about it, is that they don't want to see that language again. That
So that language has to
bonus
change, right?
language. No, they don't want to see it
They don't
again
wanna see it all.
at another development around the corner. They say, oh, you got some more stories. What says that the next developer around the corner not going to come to us with a sewer bonus? And basically what they said that night is we didn't know beforehand. Right? So when we did it, we were supposed to cover the land 100%. Now they only covering it 60%.
Because you're building.
They tabled it. This is why, because they didn't know. See, they didn't know. This is what I'm saying. We table things when the public do not know. And so we give the public space to meet or have a meeting so they can find out.
Right.
So there was a meeting, all right? Based on what I'm hearing is, they want to come and express how they feel. We tabled it because the public didn't know.
So I didn't hear that they wanted to come. They just said basically like, we said that the public hearing was closed, and they was like, if somebody wanted to say something, can they say something? And we said no. But Rolando and we both agreed that if somebody want to say something, we'll open it back up. But I didn't hear from that meeting that people. I'll make some phone calls, and I'll figure out whether or not we should untable it. Okay. But I didn't hear that people was coming to fight against it. That language.
I don't know. I didn't say they were coming to fight against it or not.
He doesn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear that. I didn't take that away from that meeting.
We just gonna have a meeting. I think could we just have another? Could y'all let us know we just have another meeting or whatever?
Yeah, I'm not scheduling a meeting. I'll call Morris Canal if they want to have another meeting. They can.
Can I give you some idea? First things, the JCMUA and the state of New Jersey, when they were 84-inch wide of the what do they call the sewer line, they give a 10 feet to 20 foot wide easement by the law. Okay, but we give them the sewer line easement bonus, something I never heard that. When I see that, it's a very big favorable things. And
all it is the same amount of units. It's not
same, but
so we agreed to let them have 150 units or whatever the unit count was, and that was over 100% of the land.
But key word is that those areas, when you get higher and higher, each unit value getting higher and higher. And when Morris Canal, when you look at it, then what is a community advantage we have? You know what I'm saying? Because their total value of the building instead of like a 14, now 24, 10 stories higher, they increase their property value so much than what we get as a community. They say they're going to JCM, you're going to get the 10 foot is actually 20 foot wide easement, but they're already in the book. So the way the Morris Canal
claim 60% of the land instead of 100%.
Right. So their argument is actually when I see that they know something, and their argument is right because they get the increase of so much value in the property, but actually community got nothing.
Let them have a meeting.
Well, the community had the 5%.
We don't want to do it.
No,
just let's
I'm letting you guys know I'm not doing a personal community meeting. If Morris Canal wants to set it up,
Can I ask a question, Joyce?
then they can set it up. I'll call Morris Canal and see if that's what their wish is to have.
I just think when we go to community meetings, we should come back saying, this is what they want. Not getting it and they speak in front of us all and we still confused with this. That's all I'm saying.
Like I said, I didn't hear them knock the project. The only thing I heard was that they didn't want somebody around the corner to try to use that same excuse to say they want to get a bonus because of the sewer.
I got
They
it.
was like, okay, this is the first and last time.
Maybe we get the MUA to kind of write us a memo saying, exactly why, in what circumstances, whatever, this could never happen again. So we can
Correct.
have that as a policy statement,
Right.
and we can point to that, so if someone tries it in the future, we know exactly what the MUA policy is.
We can get that, we can reach
Yeah,
out
I
to
just want to
everybody
ask a
see.
question.
Go ahead.
July and August, we have the caucus meetings at 10 o'clock, the council meetings at 6. Why was it changed to 6 o'clock?
When?
July and August.
To make it more accessible to the public.
We voted on that last
It's
year.
been going on for 30 years, 40 years.
It doesn't matter, 30 years was
But we
enough.
voted down
Listen.
that last year, Rich.
Rich,
We
Last year
voted
was
down
10.
the-
No,
yeah,
you have
we
to
changed
correct,
it
it was
last
wrong.
year when we did the
Rich, you just
schedule.
voted against the 3 minutes, right?
Right.
This is about giving the public
We
more of a
voted
chance
this
to
last
come
That's
out.
not the point. This has been going on for years.
No, but we have air conditioning.
Well, we was trying to get the public to see, we agreed
And during
last
the
year.
summer,
We just-
people won't show up in the evenings, believe me.
They don't show up in the day, so.
They don't. Go
They'll
ahead.
show up.
Okay. Anybody else?
That's it.
All right. May I have a motion to adjourn at 6:51?
Second.
Motion to adjourn made by
Prince Aaron.
Councilperson Prince Ayers, seconded by Councilperson Ridley. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. We are at 6:50.
Stop by your
Great.